for the next three. Austin Ward stopping by at 10:33. We'll blitz the Buckeyes. Win over Marshall coming up at 11 o'clock. Lots of college football. 3 up, 3 down across the country. We will get to that. A lot to learn, I think, this weekend as well. I don't know that you could apply that to the home team. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with my hands. This schedule is so brutal. You're a month into it now, and they just need to play somebody real. I have to imagine this is similar. I'm going to give you guys some scores, and you see if you can identify the team. East Carolina 30-3, UNLV 35-7, Bowling Green 31-6, Rutgers 31-7. What does that sound like? Those first 4 games.
Is that Michigan's first 4 games last year?
Got it. Kid got it. Chops coming in hot on a Monday. That's exactly what it is. It's Michigan a year ago. And I remember a year ago doing the show here and saying they aren't playing anybody. This is the worst schedule in the history of college football. They only played 2 ranked teams all year in the regular season. They played Penn State, who was ranked 10th on November 11th, and they played us when we were ranked 2nd in, of course, the game. And then, of course, they beat Iowa, and they beat Alabama, and they beat Washington. They won the national title. So there's a roadmap for it for sure. But it is so difficult to make sense of what you're seeing. The talent discrepancy is so enormous when in these first 3 matchups that we've seen, that there's never any threat of anything in terms of a loss or even it getting close. This one was kind of a nonsense fact that they didn't cover. Honestly, the 1 touchdown for Marshall shouldn't have counted. The guy was clearly out of bounds on the pass, on the reception on the 1 touchdown. So it should have been 49-7. But so what? What does that even mean? I don't know what it means. It's coming off of a bye. It felt like the opener all over again to me, quite honestly. They were just sluggish. They couldn't get off the field on 3rd down. And yet you win 49-14. You're never really a threat. I'm trying to judge them versus watching the rest of the country, watching Michigan, who, quite honestly, Michigan cannot throw the football. They cannot. Not with this quarterback.
And they're not even trying.
They're not trying. No, all USC had to do was tackle the football at any point in the second half of that game or not throw a pick 6, and they win the game. They threw for 32 yards in the game. So I don't know how to compare them against that. I feel pretty good about it. I watched Tennessee on Saturday night against Oklahoma, and it felt like that thing could have been 40-7. But Tennessee, I don't know if Heupel was being nice or what, but he kind of slow played a lot of the stuff where I thought he maybe should have gone for it. He settled for field goals. That was kind of weird with that game. You're going to get Georgia and Alabama this weekend. If you say, well, yeah, but who have they played? Well, Georgia played Clemson in the opener, and Alabama traveled to Madison already. And now those 2 teams are playing Saturday. Alabama is playing Georgia Saturday. That's going to be number 2 against number 4 in the country by the time it plays. Meantime, we got to wait at least 3 weeks, I think, to be substantially challenged. Iowa, although Iowa's a scoring machine now, 30 points in every game, Chops. I don't even know if you know what to do with your hands.
I mean, it is a much better offense. Basically just predicated on the running game has returned a little bit. Caleb Johnson leads the nation in rushing right now, but he's got 4 games. What's his name? Genty at Boise State only has 3. So
yeah. So I don't know. Oregon's 3 weeks out. It's a long time to get there. And in between this and this isn't their fault. Washington was supposed to be in the first month of the schedule. When they added USC and UCLA, they didn't think they wanted to make another trip out to the West Coast. I get it. But it's hard to judge them. It's hard to judge them. Honestly, this game was a lot like the video game.
That's what I was thinking when you were describing it.
It really is.
This was getting mad and turning the video game to freshmen.
It really is. It was the video game. I mean, this is a very video game. This is a very NCAA 25 or whatever it is. This is a very stat line. Will Howard, 16 of 20, 275, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Quinshon Judkins, 14 for 173 and 2 scores. That's what happens in the video game. Guess what else happens on the video game? You can't get the opponent off the field on 3rd down. They will complete every 3rd and 4 in the world. In the case of the game on Saturday, 1,000 slants. If Stone Earl doesn't go out of the game, I don't know if we ever stop him on 3rd down, quite honestly. It's tough. I know they don't want it. I know they didn't want the bye where they had it. I know they don't love this schedule. You play the schedule that you have, and it is what it is. But it's really difficult to know how ready this team is. You can see the talent. It's dripping off the roster. But what you can't tell is, like, how are they going to be when they get into the fire? Because there has been no fire. There's no spark. There's not a flint with dried leaves. There's nothing. So it's so difficult for me to make sense of what I'm seeing other than to just acknowledge that they're really talented. And that I can see plain as day. But beyond that, in terms of building towards something, I think this first month of the schedule has been an unmitigated disaster. It's just impossible to try to judge them.
Yeah, and that's how we felt Saturday doing the post game show. When you sat down and evaluated this game, it was, you hit on that third down efficiency for the defense, get off the field. Okay. But other than that, I don't really know what to say. Marshall came out and they scored on their first drive, but offenses a lot of times have a big advantage in the first drive, and then the defense basically shored up for the rest of the game, had that drive right before halftime. That was another touchdown, but it was never like Marshall was threatening to win. Even when they were up 7-0, you didn't feel nervous at all. And then on the offensive side, what do you do with all of those big plays? How do you evaluate that as anything? Because you're not going to have a bunch of 60 and 80-yard plays against the better teams on your schedule. So you didn't even really get to see like the sustained drives, which sometimes gives you a little bit of confidence that they can do that. But now they're just out there playing, and the running backs are getting loose. Wide receivers are getting loose on screens. They're not even plays that are designed to go big. They just are. And then you have this. And so the Buckeyes run like 30 less plays or something than Marshall at the end of the day. And so they don't even get that practice that we're looking for offensively. It almost is like less useful than a practice at this point. To play 3 of them, I think, is probably less useful than just practicing.
I wondered after the first quarter, because it's 7-all after the first quarter, the Buckeyes have run 6 plays, which I think Jake Trotter had the lowest in any quarter for Ohio State since 2009. That I was like, this must be frustrating for everybody. Like this has to be for Ohio State, for the coaches on the sidelines, just the most frustrating damn thing. And they get 21 in the second, and you're probably feeling pretty good. But just knowing Ryan Day and Jim Knowles the way we do, I can imagine they're still thinking about the first quarter. And then I think it was in the second half when Marshall's just loafing on a substitution, and then Day just starts shouting at the officials, and I'm like, yeah, he's pissed.
As a quick aside, that's an outrageous penalty on Ryan Day and Ohio State. That's outrageous. It is the play clock. Okay, you don't get 20 seconds to sub your entire defense.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
You get a chance to substitute, fine. But at that point, if this rule is going to continue in college football, then they got to stop the play clock while all this nonsense is happening.
Or
because otherwise, you're going to get what you got on Saturday.
Or give it a time. Say that when the offense subs in, you get 10 seconds. We won't let them snap it for 10 seconds. That way, if you're a coach and you want to sub in at 12 seconds, you go, ooh, we're not going to have enough time. But 21 should be enough time for them to run whoever. And if you don't have your guys on, too bad.
It's on you, brother.
Yeah, the ref stood over the ball for 10 seconds, but the ref stood over the ball for 20 seconds here, forcing Ohio State to take a timeout. And the weird thing is, live, they never showed the replay. So I don't know exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure the scenario that Ryan Day laid out was what happened.
Also, Joel Klatt getting pissed at the officials at various points in the game for taking too long for replay or for the goofy term. They're Big Ten officials. So I think we've been saying that for as long as we've been doing a show together. Big Ten refs are bad, and they have no incentive to get better.
No, it was really bad. The timing of that was bad. Some of the replay, I think everybody just sleptwalked through it, like Joel and Gus too. It was just kind of like, okay, you know how this is going to go. Let's just get it done. I'm going to give you a number. There's 2 numbers that I think are going to be really troublesome for Ryan Day, or bothersome, not troublesome, bothersome. 57. That's the amount of plays Ohio State ran. 57 plays. Remember last year he was lamenting when they ran 60-some plays. I mean, he wants to be approaching 80. You ran 57 plays.
Part of that was the big plays.
It was.
It makes an issue,
for
but
sure.
yeah.
But part of it also is you can't get off the field. Mm-hmm. And that's the other number that he's going to be pretty upset with. They are 7-17 on third down. I don't know what it was in the first half. If you guys have the full stats, the first half, I'd love to know, because it felt like every first down they wanted in the first half Marshall got, and they couldn't get them off the field to save their lives. Now, I understand Jim Knowles is going vanilla defensively. He's not going to want to show anybody anything. I get it. Everybody's going vanilla. But again, this goes back to maybe that's the whole point of all of this, is that when you play 3 opponents like this, you're not getting anything out of it. You really aren't. Right,
No,
just sloppy.
The play that showed me that, they're just, like we talked about, maybe some situational football, or they're not going to try to do everything that you would do in a normal play when you need this play. And it was, I think, in the first half still, maybe early in the second half, but Will Howard he rolled out to the right, and he went through his progressions, nobody open, and he went all the way across his body, the other side of the field, to Kazmarek, the tight end, who actually dropped the ball. But when when Will Howard had rolled out to the right, there was green space in front of him. Not a ton, but he probably could have just scampered, ran diagonally to the sideline, picked up 3 or 4 yards, which he probably will do, even against like a Michigan State, but definitely in your tougher games. He doesn't do that here. It ends up being an incompletion. It doesn't really matter. But the point is that, like, they're not running everything that they would run, so we're not even seeing the full Ohio State when they're playing these teams.
No, you're not. You're not getting the full Buckeyes, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's done. It's cooked. And I remember even last year when people were complaining about Michigan's schedule, I remember saying this specifically on the show, don't look at ours.
Glass houses.
Don't look at ours next year. Don't look at 2024 because it's the same damn thing. We're very lucky that they added Oregon and Washington to this league. Very lucky. Because if you didn't add them, then what are you looking at? I mean, it's brutal out there. And so to try to judge this team, they just need to play a real opponent. Michigan State ought to watch them against Boston College on Saturday night. Provide a little bit of a test. I think Childs' ability to break the pocket and run will be something that I'm curious to see how Jim Knowles.
Very inconsistent.
He's wildly inconsistent, but he can run it a little bit. It's a night game at Sparty Land. There will be a little bit of juice to it, so maybe that provides some of it. But these opponents. Oh, don't even tell people that yet. Don't even. So that's not even what is the NBC game then?
The NBC game, let's see. I don't know. Is Notre Dame playing a night game? Is that Notre Dame is Peacock at 3:30. So what is NBC?
What are they doing?
NBC is Illinois Penn State. Actually, not a bad one. Well, that's a pretty good NBC game.
Fighting Bielemas. I mean,
now when they made that decision, I don't know if they made it right.
I don't know if they knew. Fish is walking around here with his Illini singing the fight song. I mean, he's using his Kevin Hardy, Simeon Rice jerseys around town. I mean, that's what's going on. Illinois 4-0, the Fighting Bielemas. All right. There is one thing we did learn, and I feel very confident about this. If this team is going to win a national championship, I think I know how they're going to do it. We'll get to that coming up next. Off and running here on a Reaction Monday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
This season on Nada Yada Island.
You were charging your phone? I waited hours for you.
That's how long it takes.
Join Metro and get a free Motorola Edge that'll charge for the day in 15 minutes. At Metro, there's no activation fees. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number ID and sign up for Metro Flex Plus plan. Offer not available if at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days. Requires 68-watt charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties are just $4.99 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited Truck Month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Most radio stations suck. Here's why. They don't invest in local programming. We're live and local 14 hours a day. You can rest assured that every stupid thing we say is 100% local. Homegrown dumb since day one. The Fan.
Hello, I am a serious announcer hired to deliver a serious announcement. Get an Apex Pros winter tune-up for your furnace right now for only $29. Notice we are simply giving you the facts. Just $29 to make sure your furnace is ready for the upcoming Ohio winter. We know how you enjoy our usual fun and funny commercials. Hello? Beg pardon? Well, I see no reason to bring my mother into this. Good day to you, sir. Where was I? Oh, yes. A $29 tune-up will make sure your furnace runs safely and warmly all winter. That's serious. I'm serious. That's why we're not doing the usual that you've come to expect from Apex Pros. None of this or this nonsense. $29 for a furnace tune-up from Apex Pros. The pros who knows? Knows? Is that really how you say it? The pros who
Apex Pros, the official plumber of the Columbus Blue Jackets. ApexPros.com.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Any showers and storms from the morning will start to end. A mild start to the day, and by afternoon, you could see some peaks of sunshine. Expect cloudy to mostly cloudy skies with temperatures right around 80. And then for Tuesday, expect showers and isolated thunderstorms in the forecast with possibility of heavy downpours and gusty winds and afternoon highs in the upper 70s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo.
If you don't like listening to the Morning Juice, Bobby Carpenter's man nipples will punch you in the face. For real.
You want to fight, do you? Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan. With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
Hey guys, Chops here, and yeah, I'm about to be a dad. It's my first kid, a baby boy. It's a big deal, right? Honestly, I didn't think too much about my health before, but maybe, just maybe, I knew that something was about to change. That's probably why I dropped 95 pounds last year with Awaken 180 weight loss. Perfect timing, because now I won't be lugging around all that extra weight while trying to keep up with a toddler running around my feet, tripping me, all that stuff. And look, I know there are some sleepless nights coming. Bring them on. I've got the energy for it now, and I'll be ready to roll thanks to getting my health in check with Awaken 180. Maybe you've already got kids, maybe yours are grown, or maybe the parenting life isn't for you. It doesn't matter. Here's the deal. Life just feels better. Your health will be better when you're not carrying around a bunch of extra weight. Awaken 180 is a whole new ball game. Get it like we all have. Scotty, Vegas, Austin Ward, me. It's fast, easy, and you'll keep it off thanks to free support for life. Visit Awaken180weightloss.com. Bishop and Friends, we're sponsored by Awaken 180. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss.
I feel pretty strong about this. I think if this team is to accomplish all of its goals and it is to win a national championship, it'll be on the ground game that does it. They are going to bludgeon you. They're going to bludgeon you over and over. They're going to hit you with those two backs. My God, Quinshon Judkins is terrifying. He is terrifying. I mean, guys, just think where he would be if the 80-yarder wasn't called back for the nonsense holding call. I mean, is he 400 yards in 3 games? He's got to be over. He's got 100 and what did he end up in this one? 180? Yeah, 173 in this one on 14 carries. He had 10 for 100 and whatever the week before. I mean, it's 10 yards a pop. He's just such a physical brute. And then when he breaks free, you're just not catching him. And so this is what this offense is going to be. Is it's going to bludgeon you to death. It's going to bludgeon the best teams in the country. It's going to bludgeon Oregon. with it. The one thing we haven't even seen yet is Will Howard. He hasn't had to run, and he can, and we haven't even seen that at all. You mentioned that, Chops, earlier in the first segment, talking about how he had the option to run. He didn't.
He put one touchdown on film, and I think that was purposeful against Western Michigan to say, hey, this can happen down in the red zone. You have to defend it. But other than that, they've kept him behind the line of scrimmage for the most part.
There's just isn't any reason to. They have those two superstar backs, and James Peoples looks really good behind him, and that is going to be the roadmap for them to win. And then they're going to play action pass you over the top with Jeremiah Smith. They're going to hit Emeka on the crossers. They're going to get Carnell on the crossers, and that's what this is going to be. And that's fun. Because they can do that. And we've seen that in the first month, that this team can line up and bludgeon you and run the football. Quinshon Judkins has been a star of this thing. I told you to get some Heisman odds on him. It was something like 20-1 or 30-1 a couple of weeks ago. It's a long way to go, obviously, but he's doing the things you got to do to be able to be in the mix, and that is stat pad early. He's doing it. Let's hear from Quinshon first. Here is Q, who was really excited to have Gus, and then it looks like they met up for breakfast the next day, which was pretty cool. Here's Quinshon Judkins on his start to his Buckeye career.
That worked this offseason, and I want to give a thanks to my team and Coach Mick for preparing me in the offseason, getting me faster and stronger, and also my teammates for preparing me on practice, just getting me better, because I'm going against the best defense in the country every day. So it's like, man, I'm really thankful for them for sure.
What I love both about the two backs is I think it was after Travion's longer touchdown run, which was about 40 yards. He came off the field, and first guy to congratulate him is Quinshon Judkins. And those two are both smiling, high-fiving all this time. Now, they both went for 12 yards a pop, but there was a little bit of a different share to it. Obviously, Quinshon got to eat more than Travion, but they both seem happy for each other. And that's a great position to be in, that they don't mind coming out of the game for the other guy to go in there and get some. And then that'll just carry on with the idea of the depth and the guys that are ready and making sure that there are enough people who are healthy, and even later in games, not too winded to go out there and be effective, because like you said, they're going to be running the ball in crunch time. This isn't just we'll have to run the ball to keep the defense honest. This is a big deal, and night and day where the offensive line is run blocking from last year at this time to this.
I think,
yes, you're right. You haven't seen anything bad. It seems like it's good. That's a fair point because of the opponents.
I don't know. It seems like it, though, Reese.
I was just about to say, it does seem like it. Are we going to know anything this coming weekend? So Michigan State at 7 o'clock, then Iowa next week, and then it's Oregon. When do you think we'll know?
If you can line up and run it against Iowa, and Iowa's defense is not as good as it's been the last couple of years, but if you can line up and run it against them kind of at will, then I think you'll say, okay, we know.
Then
because I don't think Oregon is
just about any
Oregon
defense,
is not going to have much pushback on this. The Oregon game, if it's going to be competitive and Oregon's going to be able to try to pull what I think will be an upset by the time we get to that game, it's going to have to be like a complete failure of Jim Knowles' defense. It's going to have to be 42-38. There's no scenario, in my view, where where Oregon beats Ohio State 21-17 or something like. I just don't see it.
I was looking at the numbers just from Ohio State's win over Marshall, and the Thundering Herd converted on 7 of 17 third downs, and I think all of those were in the first half. For a little bit more reference, the Thundering Herd possessed the ball for 13 minutes and 1 second in the first quarter, compared to a minute 59 for Ohio State. 8:46 in the second compared to 6:14 for Ohio State in the second. And the Buckeyes possessed 9-6 in terms of minutes in the third. Then the Thundering Herd got them 8 minutes to 6.5 minutes in the fourth quarter. So that's the game plan, it feels like, for teams that know we're no near as talented as Ohio State.
Yeah, they're going to try to hold the ball from them, but how much time are you going to have to score against Ohio State if they're running the ball at the same time when they do have possessions that last more than 2 plays, which is what happened against Marshall? But those third down numbers are kind of a conundrum of the opponents. Once again, it's like, okay, did the defense really get better and tighten things up in the second half and get those third down stops, or did Marshall just wear out because it's really hard to go against Ohio State? I think it's inclined to believe the latter more, though.
I agree with you. I think it's largely the blunt force trauma of facing better, bigger, stronger people over and over and over again wears you out. I do think it's that, and that's why I think this is hardest right now to make sense of what to do with Marshall having these long drives. That's the thing that's hard to wrap your head around. So that's why I'm going to reserve judgment for that until I see Michigan State this week, until I see Iowa, certainly Oregon. Then that'll be the biggest test, obviously. Go ahead, Bruce.
I was also thinking about like Stone Earl for the Thundering Herd was really good out of the pocket, and he was able to run around and confuse, but he also died at the end of the game.
Buckeyes have now knocked out 2 quarterbacks.
So for other teams, like Dylan Gabriel, you go, gosh, he could do what Stone Earl did. Yeah, but then he's no longer living.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So at your own peril,
there's no doubt.
Replicate what Akron and what Marshall did.
Yeah, no, there's no question. There is a cost to it, and these type of teams they don't have the ability to stand up to it over 4 quarters. So these things are over. Even if Marshall is having success in the first half, it's not sustainable long term. But what is sustainable is this ground game, and I think it's going to travel, and I think they can run block it, and I think we haven't even seen all of what it's capable of because Will hasn't had to run yet, but he will. He'll run maybe this weekend. He's going to run against Iowa. He's definitely going to run against Oregon. But with those 2 backs and that offensive line, Chip Kelly, this is everything Chip ever wanted to be. He's getting it. He's getting everything he ever wanted. They very much remind me of his 2010-ish Oregon teams that would just bludgeon you in the run game with the tempo. Now all of a sudden he's got these big, powerful backs to go along with it. He was mostly scat back living back in the Eugene days. That's not like it anymore. He's got pros. Quinshon Judkins is a pro running back, and he's got them, and he's got big road graders, and that's what this team's going to be. It is going to bludgeon you to death slowly, methodically, over and over. They're going to punch you in the mouth offensively. Now, in terms of what else we can take from this game, how quickly we would love to get to Big Ten play, you're going to hear from Ryan Day. You'll hear from Will Howard on that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The 2 most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
Ben Sadler, Assistant Vice President, Commercial Lending, on what makes First Bank of Central Ohio successful.
What we do as a community bank is really, listening to, that company, finding the solutions that best need their business and is not just a universal product that you could get anywhere else.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver. Leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. When it comes to being a Newman Roofing customer, you can trust they're always going to put your needs first. They're going to give you the white glove treatment so you feel confident you're making the best decision. So don't just get a roof, get a Newman roof. Give them a call at 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns for its biggest year yet. For the first time with Metallica. 2 nights, 2 different set lists, no repeat weekend. Plus exclusive Metallica experiences. With Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, and over 100 more bands to be announced. 4 days, May 8th to the 11th at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Select passes on sale Wednesday, September 25th at SonicTempleFestival.com.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Football season is here, and we have so much stuff, and one station isn't enough. Find even more Pigskin on ESPN Columbus.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2, or listen on the Fan app.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at ByersAuto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
You know, here's what's up on a Monday. You think it's hard for all of you, all of us, to try to make sense of what this Buckeye team is, other than we all know it's very, very talented. It's difficult when you play these type of opponents. Ryan Day postgame talking about the idea of evaluating this Buckeye team and juxtaposed to Marshall's strengths. Here's Coach Day.
Marshall did a nice job with their style of play, which is +1, spreading you out with the quarterback run. As we know, there's pluses and minuses to that. The plus, you can be +1. The negative is you take a lot of shots on your quarterback. They did a good job with that. I thought we continue to stick with it. There's still a lot of things that we're going to watch on this film that we're not going to be pleased with, just with overall execution. I know Jim's going to be that way. So the things we did well, we'll continue to enhance. The things that we didn't do well, we got to grow from. Did do some good things, and we're not going to take any win for granted, as you see across the country. Like, you know, we all take these wins for granted, but there's a lot of work that gets put into them, and guys played hard out there today. They did. You know, again, the effort is there. The guys are playing hard, and so we got to keep building on that.
I think the only beef that I have coming out of this one was just the inability to get off the field in the first half on third down. I mean, that's kind of the only thing that was bothersome. That's what led to those long drives. That's what led to the clock discrepancy in terms of time of possession in favor of Marshall versus Ohio State. That's what led to the amount of play differential that was so in favor of the Thundering Herd as well. You just couldn't get off the field on third down. And you'd have to talk to Jim in terms of, was that execution? Was that playing it vanilla, playing it safe, guys not doing their job? I don't know, but they got a ton of slants and they got a lot of quarterback run on third down. It seemed like anytime they needed one, they got it, and that's frustrating. Other than that, you can't have much beef with anything that you saw, because the talent discrepancy is what the talent discrepancy is. So it's hard to be judgmental or to be critical without looking at the all-22, without looking at, all right, this guy missed on this blocking assignment, this guy missed on this coverage assignment. We don't have access to that. So what we're judging is just the raw data of, on third down, you couldn't get off the field in the first half against Marshall, and that's a problem.
Yeah, so the why, that's for the coaches to figure out and hopefully get to it. And like you said, you can look at it and figure it out, but it's just, that can't happen against better opponents, because they complete those. You're not going to get the ball back and score in 2 plays. And that's what happens in that game, too, that like it kind of psychologically messes with you, because you're sitting there, you're like, man, Ohio State's up by 3-4 touchdowns or whatever late in the second quarter. And it doesn't quite feel like it because you feel like Marshall's had the ball the entire time because they did have the ball the entire time. Not nearly as much success, but yeah, it's just a weird game where you might not have noticed it, but your brain did, and it kind of just messes with you the whole time. It doesn't feel like a real football game at some points too.
No.
I also like the little warning he threw out. He's like, yeah, they'll do the Q run at their own peril. It's like, yeah, like that's
true.
Effective early. Like and we'll get to Michigan and USC. But, man, every time I watch the Wolverines play, I see a different thing going, yeah, try that against Ohio State.
I don't think, as an aside, since you brought up Michigan, I don't think Sharon Moore is thinking about November. I think he's thinking,
he can.
How can I get to 8 wins?
How do I not let the wheels just completely fall off this?
Yeah. How do I not be
former linebacker or running back? Sure. In the fourth quarter, let's hand it off to him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's just trying to get through September with a winning record. But hell, he beat USC. And they were dogs at home, and he beat them. So you do have to give them a little bit of credit for that. I had mentioned earlier about the identity of this football team is without question its offensive run game and the ability to just bludgeon you. Ryan Day echoed that post-game. Here's Coach Day.
What you're seeing is an identity that's slowly getting molded here where, we're explosive on the perimeter. I keep saying I don't think it was perfect, but I see our receivers blocking on the perimeter. But we're trying to stretch the field vertically. Once you do that, and you can start running the ball with the way that our running backs are running and the way the O-line's now, really growing. And I think Donovan being back in there helped a lot. And I thought the running backs ran hard. And when you have the ability for Will to pull it, that just changes the numbers. You think back when we had Justin Fields and we had J.T. Barrett, it was just a different run game. And so I think you're starting to see that come back a little bit. I thought Chip, again, called a good game, good balance across the board. Again, bigger challenges ahead. We're heading into conference play, but the identity's starting to build, and that running game is starting to, build an identity and some confidence, I think, up front, which was needed.
I think the other thing that's very real that we can say 3 weeks in is that Will Howard is pretty cool to have at quarterback. He's really accurate. He makes a lot of the right decisions. I think you're going to see more of him running. He's bigger than I think anybody of us really realize. When you see him standing on the sideline next to other big guys and he's right there with them, you realize the size he has. He's a pretty cool customer. And this was another really clean game out of him. He did have the one pick, but it was 16 to 20. Most of it was in stride. Most of it was ready to go. I was very impressed. And it makes me, because when you watch Devin come in the second half, the discrepancy is just enormous is what it looks like. And I understand it's a tough spot for Devin fourth. You're trying to get in there and make some plays. I get it. But he's just wildly inaccurate. Will is coming along week after week, Reese.
That interception, I thought it's a great learning experience for Jeremiah Smith, because it does feel, when I saw that, and I mentioned this to Chops, that when Howard was making that throw, it was very Patrick Mahomes like, I think Tyreek's down there somewhere. F it. Just throw it up. And when you get Jeremiah Smith one-on-one, yeah.
He might win
10 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, what did happen will probably happen. I'll take the 9 when you've got him striding into the end zone on that. But for Jeremiah Smith, do you think, Bo, that's a teaching moment where Hartline can pull him aside and be like, on that play sometimes, you're a defensive back now.
Just pull him down.
100%. That pick is on him.
He almost did it, too. He had his hands on his shoulders, and it's like, just complete it. Just take the flag and just pull him down.
Well, furthermore, if you go and rewatch that route, and I'm guessing Hartline will show the young superstar this route, he kind of half-asses it out of the break.
That's what Klatt said right away on the broadcast.
So he doesn't take off right away the way that you'd want. It's a go, and he kind of is jogging. And no, I think that interception is 100% or 90% on Ford. Like, he's got to break that up or catch it. Like, if it's one-on-one, that's what you want. We want him one-on-one, and I do think it's a teachable moment. So I'm glad that I think it's a good point out of you. I think I tweeted it on Saturday too, that's on 4. You could tell, like, I don't hold Will responsible for that at all. It's one-on-one coverage with your most physically talented receiver. Worst case scenario, you break it up. Best case scenario, you score.
Yeah,
you can't have that interception can't happen. Not against Oregon.
On Will Howard too, because this, I think, was also that Will Kazmarek, that play that I mentioned where he threw the incomplete pass all the way across the body on the other side of the field. That I saw this from 11 Warriors on Friday, and again, something that you can get if you're actually going into the real film study of it all. And in the first 2 games, he hadn't been great going through his progressions and getting to his third wide receiver, say. He also hadn't had that many opportunities because a lot of times the first option was open. But I think that play also was a time where he was trying to actually go through his progressions and got down to probably his fourth one if he's thrown into the flat to a tight end, which is good that he's trying to do that. And that's another like version of they can actually practice and get that situational football, because I think that's something that it remains to be seen if Will Howard is great at getting through his progressions, but he will have to do that at some games this year.
Yeah, all Howard can do is play the opponents he's played, and he's gotten better each week. So to me, he's passing every test that it needs to be. We can all agree that the identity of this team is going to be to bludgeon people. It's going to be physical. It's in the run game. But there will come a series. There will come a set of downs. Will it be in the Oregon game? Will it be in the Michigan game? Will it be in the Penn State game? Could it be in the college football playoff? Could it be in the Big Ten championship game? Where he's got to put a drive on, and he's got to do the most difficult thing in football, which is throw it when they know you're going to throw it. He's going to have to do that at some point. I believe that he can make those throws and make those plays. By the way, Will was available post-game, and he's just excited to get into big play as all of you are. Here's Will.
I'm looking forward to it. I think, away games are a challenge, man. I love going in there, and, it's the 120 of you guys, of us, of the Buckeyes going in and against the world. I love that feeling of being being hated and everyone's rooting against you. I think there's something that motivating about that.
In the draft process, when they all like to sit there and be like, this guy, he loves football or whatever. Like, Will Howard totally exudes that idea. Everything he says he's excited for. I love this. This is great. My guys, I'll take responsibility for my mistakes. He just is that perfect quarterback. Always says the right thing.
I think he is. He checks all those boxes. I think the reason he has the excitement is he's like a little kid who never had toys.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you paratroop him into, like, back in the old days, like Toys R Us, and say, have whatever you want.
He's been going to the playground, and now he's going to Disney World.
Yeah, it's just he's got so much at his disposal. He's having the time of his life. And to me, of the new quarterbacks in new places, the only one who's played better is Cam Ward, where all Miami does is where would Miami football be without Cam Ward? I don't even know, because all their offenses is him. That's
they wouldn't
all
be back.
No, he would not be back. It's all him. I don't know if they're back or not, but he's it. He's the whole operation. We'll get back into the college football side of things and what we've learned 4 weeks in, coming up at 11 o'clock. Coming up next, DEFCON 1 up on the lake. We'll describe it and break it all down coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Common Man and T-Bone here for the Sportsbook, the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside Hollywood Casino. Yes, they've changed the name.
It is better than ever, but they're still going to have your favorite teams on the biggest screens. You can place your bets, grab some wings and an ice-cold pint, and even hang out with us.
We're going to be there broadcasting live from 3 to 6, Friday, September 27th. And we've got tickets to give away, so come and be with us and hug us.
Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. Looking for your next Subaru? At Byers Airport Subaru, we give you options from start to finish. Browse and shop entirely online from the comfort of your home at ColumbusSubaru.com, or stop by and visit one of our friendly brand specialists just by the airport.
Right now, you can get a new 2025 Subaru Outback for 2.9% for up to 72 months.
Whether you prefer to click or come in, we've got you covered. Your journey starts at Byers Airport Subaru. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Subject to credit approval. Financing offer term up to 72 months on 2025 Subaru Outback. Cannot be combined with any other incentive. See dealer for details. Offer ends 9/30/24.
Attention Ohio pizza restaurant owners. Tired of glitchy point-of-sale systems slowing you down? Meet Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. With reliable hardware, an easy-to-use system, and 24/7 customer support, Hunger Rush speeds up your operations and boosts repeat orders by up to 10%. This is the restaurant point-of-sale built for pizza. Easily manage your drivers, easily take orders online, easily train your staff in minutes, and easily make modifications. Need to talk to a real person? That's easy too. Top Ohio pizzerias are winning with Hunger Rush. Solutions to help you streamline service, optimize workflows, and maximize profits. Join the thousands of successful restaurants transforming their operations with Hunger Rush for $0 down and $0 a month. Tools for menu management, marketing, customer engagement, and increased upsells, all in one simple platform. That's Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. Schedule your free no-obligation demo at OhioPOS.com. OhioPOS.com. OhioPOS.com.
Dick from Dayton says, listen to the Ryan Day Show. Paul Keels and Jim Lachey join Coach every Thursday from noon to 1.
Presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan.
Navigating mental health insurance benefits can be overwhelming, but you don't have to do it alone. The Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office is here to guide you. Our expert team will help you connect with your health insurance plan to understand available behavioral health benefits. Say goodbye to frustration and hello to control over your mental well-being. Call 855-438-6442 today.
We are Ortho Alliance. Together, we deliver the most experienced orthopedic care near you and throughout Central Ohio. Together, we provide expert care when you need it with same-day and next-day appointments. We put our patients' care first, from physical therapy to the most challenging joint replacement surgeries. We are JIS Orthopedics, Ortho Neuro, Orthopedic Associates of Zanesville, Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Center, and Orthopedic Specialists in Sports Medicine. And we are better together. Visit orthoalliance.com or call 877-WE-ARE-OA.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Saturday is game day on The Fan.
Sponsored by Reichert Ford.
Every game, every season, you're home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Took the boys up to the lake. I mean, it's Giants at home, right? I mean, it's Giants at home, right? Beamsy, in fact, on the car ride up there, he goes, well, it's the Giants. I mean, we should win, Dad. I mean, like, worst case scenario, we should win. I'm like, I think so. Feels pretty much like that would be the case.
I have a buddy who's in a very big survivor pool that he had to actually fly out to Vegas. You have to be there in person to enter it. And he has multiple entries because they went through all that effort. But one of them, they had made all three of their entries through the first 2 weeks. And there was a lot of people had lost this year because it's been wild in the NFL. And he's like, yeah, we got the Browns this week in one of our picks because it's the 1 week that you feel confident you can pick the Browns. And he said that to me on Saturday afternoon. And I was thinking about him Sunday afternoon.
I bet. Well, you could have thought about me and the three boys because we were sitting there watching it. So you get a fumble recovery on the opening kickoff. You score on the fastest score in the NFL since 1970. Deshaun to Amari. Amari with an unbelievable catch. Deshaun with a great throw, and it's 7-0. You get a interception on one of the subsequent drives, and all of a sudden you think you're in your own territory. You're going to go up 14-0 on the Giants, and in the NFL, that's it. It's done. But instead, what happens? Greg Newsome is inexplicably near the head of Daniel Jones. It's technically the right call. Is it truly roughing the passer? No, but why was he around his head? There's no reason to be around his head, right? Just lack of discipline. And the Giants went and scored on that drive to make it 7-7. They scored 14 unanswered in the second. It was a brutal second half of football. And yet, despite it all, and all the injury, and that's why we're at DEFCON 1, by the way, is because the injuries, which we're going to get to in a second, you had not one, not two, but three opportunities in the last 6-7 minutes of the game, down by 6, to go win it. And you could not mount a single drive. Some of it's on Watson. Some of it's on the offensive line. The offensive line and the loss of Bill Callahan is real. Not only is it real in the sense of just getting guys ready. Callahan was great at this. Like, he could get guys ready quickly, and the attention to detail was elite. But he also helped scheme up the ground game. This is a team that has no identity at the moment. They have not scored 20 points in a game in any of the first 3 weeks of the season. It's stupefying that they haven't done that. Actually thought the defense made adjustments as the game went along and was pretty suffocating in the second half. The Giants really couldn't do anything offensively in the second half of the game. There was plenty of opportunity for you to win. You only needed 22 points to be able to do it, and somehow you only muster 15. We're going to hear from some of these guys. We'll do a lot of NFL, obviously, tomorrow, but I do think it's important to hear from this. And I think this Deshaun Watson bite where he talks about the Giants' defense confusing them, that seems borderline impossible to me. Here's your quarterback.
They switched up the game plan. I think, you got to give their DC Shane a lot of credit of doing something different that we, of course we were expecting, pressure, but, as much as they brought it, you just got to prepare for the worst, and they did a good job of trying to create, some mismatch and different confusion up front to, get us off our timing in the passing game. So, for us to try to correct that, we got to win our matchups and try to figure out the right protection to figure out what pressures they were doing off the edge to create.
I think Deshaun Watson might be the worst quarterback at doing the right things around pressure to help his offensive line out in football right now in the NFL.
I think you could. I think the only quarterback in the league who's played worse to start the year is probably Bryce Young.
I was going to say, statistically, you could have stopped it. I think Deshaun Watson's the worst quarterback.
Yeah, right. But it's constant in the game that, like, the way he moves the pocket and the way he rolls it doesn't gel with what protection he's getting. And I don't know if that's fully just the offensive line playing well, or can he do? I feel like he could do more to not put himself in that situation, because 8 sacks is a lot against the Giants. 8 sacks is a lot. They blitzed a lot. They came after him a lot. The Browns did not attempt to run the ball much at all to make him pay. Dante Foreman, who was pretty good last week in the game down in Jacksonville, he carried it twice. Now, the reason he carried it twice is he missed a blitz pickup that allowed for bad. It was such a brutal one, and so I saw Stefanski yelling at him like, "Oh, he's done. They don't trust him on blitz pickup, so he can't play anymore." So that's a problem. The offensive line is why we're going to be at DEFCON 1, though, because 3 of them were in the blue tent on Sunday. MRIs across the board for all of them. So here's what we know. Jack Conklin was trending positive and had a major setback at the end of the week last week. So who knows when he will be able to return. Jed Wills did play. Your starting left tackle did play, but then he went out and could not finish the game. DeJuan Jones was not going to play in the second half of the football game, guys. He was not going to play because he banged up his knee last week at the end of practice, towards the end of the week in practice. He was not going to play in the second half. He had no choice. They had no more offensive linemen left. So Wyatt Teller went out. He's got an MRI. We'll see on his knee, but he did not return. He went out. Jed Wills went out. And then James Hudson went out, who went in at right tackle for DeJuan Jones. He went out and could not return. Their offensive line in the fourth quarter, and I actually thought it was probably the best the offensive line played all game, was Zach Zinter, the rookie out of Michigan, Nick Harris, who they signed from waivers, who was with them before. He went in at center. Ethan Posick was playing left guard. Joel Bitonio was playing left tackle. And DeJuan, who was not supposed to play in the second half, played right tackle. And honestly, that's probably the best the offensive line was the whole game was in the fourth quarter. So the offensive line is why we're going to be at DEFCON 1. Miles was in the blue tent as well. He was doing the best he could on 3rd and 4th down and still had 7 pressures with Andrew Thomas, who's as good as any left tackle in the league. So the defense did its part in the second half. There is just nothing they can hang their hat on in the offensive game. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't know what they do well. Watson had opportunity to make throws and couldn't. And yet at the end, it's Cedric Tillman. Watson puts it on the numbers, literally. Just catch the damn ball. And he couldn't. So everything that could go wrong did. And the reason it's DEFCON 1 is the injuries. And this would potentially be 2 years in a row of cataclysmic injuries with this football team.
Yeah, the injuries. The injuries stink. The Giants stink. For those out there thinking Jameis Winston's going to make this any better, he will not make this any better. This is This is, I would say, the most difficult thing about being a Browns fan on some seasons like this, when there is some semblance of hope and expectations going into the year, is you have a game last week against Jacksonville that comes up in a win. And as of right now, you take in the NFL any win you can get, any way you can get it. And then you have a stinker like they did yesterday. It was an overall stinker against the New York Giants. Next week against the Las Vegas Raiders, maybe you squeak out a 3-point win because they're also a mess. And you think to yourself, you're 4-6 going into the bye. You go, oh, there's a chance. Don't think that. This team is cooked.
They're cooked in terms of being any sort of threat.
Yeah.
They're cooked there.
Like, they'll win a couple of games. You're like, oh,
they
maybe.
could be around 500. The defense is good.
Don't do that.
But they're not anything
Miles
more than that.
needs a procedure on his feet at the end of the season.
Bo, you said it at the beginning of the last segment, or during the last segment we were talking about Will Howard, that like what you have to do to beat the teams that can beat you as well is you need to be able to throw when you need to be able to throw when they know you're going to throw. And I immediately thought, just ask Deshaun Watson, because at the end of the game they weren't able to throw when they needed to throw, and they had multiple shots, but those 2 shots with about 4 minutes left, and then with about 2 minutes left, and both of them just midfield, can't get past it.
They had 3 drives, down 6 in the fourth quarter. 3 drives. Now, I told the boys, like, I don't want to stay here till the end. Like, let's beat the traffic. Like, if this starts to go bad, and then every time the defense would step up and you go, so you're saying there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Then the 4-minute one, you get the ball back. Mm-hmm. He missed Elijah Moore in the slot on a walk-in touchdown that he airmailed. He missed Amari Cooper on a crosser that he airmailed. And yet Cedric Tillman just catches the ball, and maybe you get a chance to win. Who knows in the under 2 minute. So all of those things stacked up and led to what it was. But the reason you're at DEFCON 1 for them, and I'll look forward to Stefanski talking later today, because this MRI list is going to be long and distinguished, and it's going to be a big problem for them because they've got big problems in terms of who they are offensively, in my estimation. What do we know about college football 4 weeks in? Who is great? Who is bad? Heisman. We'll get into that a little bit as well. Coming up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Save big money on your next project now at Menards. For over 50 years, Menards has been a leading supplier of quality roof and floor trusses. Get free estimates in our large selection of pre-designed residential and post-frame trusses, or custom design trusses specifically for your project. Order trusses for your building project today in store or on Menards.com. Plus, view our weekly flyer for all the deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman. The fall deals at Germain Honda of Dublin are beautiful. The 24 Civic LX, only $249 a month for 36 months. The 24 Accord LX, only $279 a month for 36 months. With 10,000 miles a year on the lease, $34.99 cash cap reduction, payments plus tax, tag, and document fee, and away you go. How about 0.9% up to 36 months on the 24 Prologue, the first all-electric SUV from Honda. For the best deal in town, Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road.
At Kroger Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Kroger Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Visit Kroger.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman for the Bath Authority. It's time to make your bath and shower something you really love. Something so great, your singing in the shower comes from a genuine place of happiness. Don't keep staring at that outdated bath. The mold, the mildew, the broken tiles. Every unit from the Bath Authority is custom built. You choose the premium accents and accessories. Right now, get free installation on your new bath or shower, plus 36 months of 0% interest. Visit thebathauthority.com. That's thebathauthority.com. A better bath awaits.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. For roof.
This is the story of the one.
As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The Blue Jackets begin preseason play tonight. CBJ are at the Buffalo Sabres at 5 p.m. We'll have that game on the Fan with pregame coverage at 4:45. That means Common Man and T-Bone will move over to ESPN Columbus. That's 1460 on your AM dial starting at 4:45. CBJ are back on home ice Wednesday hosting the St. Louis Blues. After Blue Jackets hockey on the Fan, we'll have Monday Night Football featuring the Bills and Jaguars. The game will kick off in Buffalo around 7:30. It's the first of an NFL doubleheader tonight. The Bengals will host the Commanders at 8:15. T. Higgins is back for Cincinnati. He's missed the first 2 games with a hamstring injury. In college football, number 3 Ohio State's at Michigan State Saturday night at 7 p.m. Ryan Day will join Skip Mossick, Paul Keels, and Jim Lachey tomorrow night at 6:30 on a Tuesday edition of Buckeye Roundtable. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa credit card from BMI. Apply at bmifcu.org/Visa.
The only thing better than watching football is talking about it. So we invented Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by the Roofing Guys.
The Fan. Don't be fooled by the name. Chops and Reeser are just acquaintances.
Are you guys just co-workers? It should be Bishop and acquaintances.
And acquaintances.
That's what it should be.
I
guess Bishop and Friends sounds better.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Reaction Monday. Austin Ward coming up at the bottom of the hour. Kind of the overwhelming thought I had watching now week 4 through 4 weeks of college football, and I've had a chance to take in all of the games and all of the teams that you would view as threats, all of the teams that you would hear maybe these teams are great, these teams aren't. I do think one thing that's happened in the sport, though, is that the very top of the sport, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, maybe Tennessee, get to them in a second, that there is separation between the top and the second tier. The amount of talent that is on an Ohio State roster, that's on a Georgia roster, that's on a Texas roster, that's on an Alabama roster, maybe a Tennessee roster, their defensive line looks pretty real. When they play teams that aren't of that ilk, and even teams that are, we think, pretty good, for example, like Oklahoma, they're just mountains better than. And I think one thing that's happened with NIL is in the old days, if you go through a season and you go, well, we're not quite as good as we need to be on the offensive line, we're going to have to coach these guys up. Well, what Ohio State, Texas, Georgia did in the portal is they said, well, let's go get where our shortcomings are, right? So, and sometimes in Ohio State's case, they went and addressed things that weren't even their shortcomings. They made strengths even stronger by adding Quinshon Judkins. They made strengths even stronger by adding Caleb Downs to the back end of the defense. But they weren't great on the offensive line, so what'd they do? They went and got Seth McLaughlin to play center. Well, that helps. That helps a great deal, right? So what I think has happened in the sport is those marquee programs that already recruited at an elite level, they have recruiting, player development, and then they use the portal to fix their weaknesses. And when you combine the two, I think we have as big a separation in the sport at the top as we've seen. It seems like the difference between the great teams and the good teams is pretty big. And that's kind of my number one takeaway 4 weeks into this thing is that the top 4 or 5 teams, and I don't know where I am absolutely on Alabama. I don't know where I am. I'll find out this weekend when they play Georgia. I don't know where I am absolutely on Tennessee. We're going to find out soon because In the SEC, they play the hits, so you're going to find out soon where those teams are. But I feel emphatically about Georgia, Texas, and Ohio State. Those 3 teams can go. They have no holes. They have no weaknesses. Hell, Texas, their first-round pick quarterback's down, and they got another NFL quarterback as a backup. So there's no drop-off really even there. Arch threw a couple of picks in the game and had a little bit of growing pains, but he would be fine if they had to roll with him long-term. Those teams have no weaknesses, and I think the gap between them and the good teams, and I'm waiting to see who else I want to put into that top category, is big. And I think it's as big as it's been in recent memory for me.
Yeah, those teams are so good. What you described with Quinn Ewers down at Texas, they aren't afraid of injury at a position, and some positions might not even be afraid of 2 injuries because they know that the next guy coming up is also of that caliber. Maybe not the best on the team, but think about Ohio State just a couple of years ago. How excited we were for Jackson Smith and Jigba's last season. He got injured early, tried to play, but never really became anything. And then, Marvin Harrison's now the best wide receiver in the country. Okay, that works too. We can do that. And that is the luxury that these teams get, because in college football, every team used to be at the mercy of their recruiting classes, really, no matter what. There were still transfers, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And you were still recruiting at a higher level if you were these schools, the Ohio States, the Texases, the Georgias. But if you missed, sometimes, we got to figure this out on the fly with what we have. And that's how you still have the opportunity for those like 3-stars who developed over their career and they came in as a senior and were good guys. Those players are gone. They're not even recruited. They're not even on the roster anymore because when they need a guy, they just go and find a 4- and 5-star that they didn't win with the first time around recruiting, and they can fill the spot there. So even a recruiting loss is not as detrimental to those teams. And I was having the same thought as you this weekend, and it crystallized during the USC-Michigan game because USC's offense, we know. Lincoln Riley, Miller Moss has looked good. We know what Lincoln Riley can do. I think that offense is really good. And they were not able to just move the ball willy-nilly as much as they wanted against Michigan, which maybe at the beginning of the season you would have expected. But after Texas did what they did and could just score at will and basically just shut it down in the second half because they didn't need to score anymore.
Yep.
The fact that USC couldn't go out and do really any semblance of that, maybe a pocket in the second half where they were able to, but not overall for the entire game, it made me go there, wait. How good is Texas's offense? And that's where we're at right now, where the defending national champion has to sit there and be the example of, wait, how good is the number 1 team in the nation's offense? Because I'm afraid of Texas's offense officially now. It is good.
Yes. Yeah.
It's interesting looking at the AP Top 25, Ohio State getting 5 first-place votes, but really teams 1 through 8, major portal players, major NIL players, and I think that's where you can really start to draw that. And I know maybe Miami, are they back? What exactly is Oregon? But I think Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, but like you said, that's legit. And then everybody else in that top 25, you're like, well, you weren't serious.
No. Yeah. For example, Utah is 10th. They had a nice win at Oklahoma State, right? Nice win. The difference between Utah and Texas?
Playing a different sport.
Michigan's 12th. We saw them play Texas. Texas could have named the score on them.
And that's a really good example because even if you're in the club, it's not good enough because Georgia had that really close game. Now it was on the road, but a really close game against Kentucky that they probably should have lost. Missouri wins in overtime, and now it's at home against Vanderbilt, a worse team, but they still win, a 3-point differential. They dropped 4 spots from, 7 to 11?
7 to 11,
whereas Georgia does that against Kentucky and just drops from 1 spot. And really, it was just Texas jumped them more than anything. That's the difference.
They still have 13 first-place votes.
Right.
They still have a decent amount of those.
So when you are that team, too, like it begets itself, and it keeps the ball rolling for you, even when you have a mini hiccup, which is what I would classify that game against Kentucky for Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to find out about Alabama and Georgia, but what I already know is that those 2 teams are supremely talented. I'll tell you something else that I thought early on, and now I'm rethinking is I thought both USC and LSU were good. I think they're both good. Neither one is great, nor do they have the potential to be. That was embarrassing, LSU and UCLA. I was texting with Bob. He was down at that game. He said it was about half full at halftime in a tie game against UCLA. That's a bad job. One thing I reminded him, though, and I've said this so many times about Ohio Stadium, that for a big game, Ohio Stadium might not be as great as Baton Rouge or Penn State or A&M on a big game. It can't get quite as loud as some of those places. But consistently, Ohio Stadium is the best. that if you play Marshall, there's still going to be 100,000 people in there. They're still going to do OHIO, and that doesn't happen around the country. We get spoiled by that. We get spoiled by that atmosphere time in and time out. So just a quick digression there. One other thing I wanted to bring up to you guys is this, though. I'm starting to think, well, I'm not starting to think. I feel pretty confident that Travis Hunter is the best football player in the country. Most outstanding football player in the country is Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
What do they have to do? How can he win the Heisman? Reese, you're a voter. I'm a voter. They win on it. They get to overtime on a Hail Mary Saturday night. Colorado does get to overtime on a Hail Mary to tie the game against Baylor. Then they win it at overtime. He had 100 yards receiving again. He caused the fumble that allows for them to win. He is the best football player in the country, but they're going to fall off a cliff here at some point, I would think, because they're just not very good, and they're reckless as all hell with the football. So is it 7 wins? Is it 8 wins, Reese? Where is it?
I'm trying to think of like the last player to win a Heisman on a team that was of little consequence, and probably Lamar Jackson. But even then, I think he had a 500-yard game or maybe a 600-yard game in his Heisman season. He's a quarterback. Yeah. I think for Travis Hunter, and Colorado's sitting there 3-1. The Big 12 is still very winnable for them. I don't think they're great. I don't think they got I'd say he'd have to have a similar stat line in a game against Utah.
Yeah.
He would have to have moments like that, a stat line like that, where he would get propelled into the consciousness of Heisman voters.
I was curious, what were the records of those ones where a team that wasn't quite as good, but it looks like, what was it, 11? It must be. I'm looking at these Baylor records. Was it 11 when
RG3
when RG3 won it, right?
They were good though. They won 10 games.
Yeah, they were 10. They were 10-3. And when was it? When RG3 won it? Or
was it 11? I think it was 2011.
Okay. Well, I know that Lamar won it in 2016, and they were 9-4. So it seems like a 9-win threshold is probably where you have to get. But the fact that they use him as a decoy going down the field and to get the Hail Mary, and then he pops the ball out in overtime to get the win. But the hard part is, and it's funny because one of the teams I was looking up here is Baylor. I said this on our Saturday show. I was like, do not be impressed if Colorado goes out there and destroys Baylor. It is not a good football team, this Baylor Bears team. So that's the problem, is then they play a close game and we all get excited, and it is exciting at the end. But that's a bad team that they needed overtime to beat.
They're not good.
Yeah,
but
that's
he
the
is
problem.
great.
It's crazy.
He's great. Like, I was watching with the boys. It was on one of the TVs because it was kind of thrilling, and it's just wild watching what they ask him to do. And one of the boys was like, "Dad, would he start at Ohio State?" Yeah, he'd start anywhere in the country. He'd start for the Cleveland Browns. Like, he's that good. I don't even know what they do with him as a pro, but there's very little doubt in my mind that he's the best overall player. I just don't know how I think he can stay in the mix.
The best way they're going to be able to do this with him is games like this, where they can package some sort of thing statistically, like something you can actually put numbers next to, that says, he's the reason we won. He was the reason they won in this game. Can you 100%. Find a stat that people can throw out to people that says that because of Travis Hunter, they won 2-3 more games than they should have?
So the 2017 national champion Central Florida Knights are undefeated at 3-0. That's your 3:30 kick on Fox. So Big Boy Fox is going to have UCF Colorado. And that's not going to be a great football game, at least I don't think. But it might have great moments and great opportunity for Travis Hunter to put himself, again, this has to be in the general consciousness of most casual observers that are Heisman voters, because it's so regionally based that games you're going to have this weekend, guys are going to be looking at, Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah.
And then obviously Hunter got hurt last year, but that was the problem with Colorado, is after the first month, we just kind of put him in a corner and nobody watched him anymore.
Yeah, and that could happen starting this week with UCF. So he's got to stay upright. But, like, what they ask him to do, I've never seen a kid in college be asked to do what he's asked to do. It's crazy.
Maybe in the 1920s.
Yeah, you got to go way back. All right, 3 up in college football. What 3 teams impressed? We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
They come here illegally, crossing our southern border. Then Sherrod Brown rolls out the welcome mat for them here in Ohio. Brown voted to give amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants, including those convicted of crimes like drunk driving, aggravated assault, and child abuse. And Sherrod Brown voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities in Ohio, which released dangerous illegals back onto the street, making Ohio's neighborhoods less safe. And while we struggle to make ends meet, Sherrod Brown is voting to give illegals taxpayer-funded benefits, like health care for illegals granted amnesty, Social Security, COVID relief checks, even a program to fly Haitian migrants into Ohio airports, all paid for by you, the taxpayer. You think you know Sherrod Brown? Well, after 31 years in Washington, Sherrod Brown's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community, except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station, except Bo. The Fan.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman. Guys, if you're only middle-aged but wondering why it seems harder to keep up, you're not alone. It may be caused by low testosterone. Testosterone replacement therapy can help you get back to your best, but not just any TRT. See the provider specialists at Low T Center. They offer advanced, personalized treatments with over a decade of experience. At Low T Center, you'll start with a simple test and get your results in about 25 minutes. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Windows, siding, APCO, absolutely. We don't rely on gimmicks to get customers. We rely on our reputation. APCO is a local, family-owned window and siding company established in 1962.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
Pop quiz. What's the best way to go back to school? With Giant Eagle and Market District, of course. From lunchbox favorites to fun after-school snacks. Shop deals for school days and save on thousands of items throughout the store. Visit your local Giant Eagle or Market District today.
They come here illegally, crossing our southern border. Then Sherrod Brown rolls out the welcome mat for them here in Ohio. Brown voted to give amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants, including those convicted of crimes like drunk driving, aggravated assault, and child abuse. And Sherrod Brown voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities in Ohio, which released dangerous illegals back onto the street, making Ohio's neighborhoods less safe. And while we struggle to make ends meet, Sherrod Brown is voting to give illegals taxpayer-funded benefits, like health care for illegals granted amnesty, Social Security, COVID relief checks, even a program to fly Haitian migrants into Ohio airports, all paid for by you, the taxpayer. You think you know Sherrod Brown? Well, after 31 years in Washington, Sherrod Brown's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. Bring your ideas to life at Dell.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
It's the first full day of fall, and it will feel like the season we're in. Mostly cloudy to cloudy skies, maybe a stray shower. Otherwise, expect a dry day with temperatures right around 80 degrees. For tonight, we will see showers and thunderstorms developing overnight. Lows down into the 60s, and that lingers into Tuesday. Breezy conditions and daytime highs climbing into the upper 70s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo.
The Fan is live and local with Morning Juice, Caffeinate, and Dominate.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Not interested in football? Too bad. Chops will tell you about it anyway. This is Bishop and Friends.
Well, hey there, friends. It's your Uncle Bo here. If you're like me and millions of men out there finding yourself feeling sluggish, tired, a little bit off, energy maybe not what it used to be, maybe you're just not sleeping great. I know I wasn't. If these symptoms apply to you, it's possible, even likely, that you're suffering from low testosterone. There is help out there. I found it, and you can too, with my friends at the Tri-State Men's Health. For me, it was chasing the boys all over with the sports. I just didn't have the energy that I wanted to. This past Saturday, we played a 6-game series, me and Beebsy versus NBC and Bootsy. Full court hoops. We did it. Did it Saturday afternoon. It was absolutely great. I don't know if I could have done it without my friends at Tri-State Men's Health. So go to their website, take the low T quiz on the site. If the symptoms apply, schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health here. They're going to do your lab work. They're going to give results in about 30 minutes. It's $99. Includes a consult, the TNPSA test. If it seems it's time for you and you check those boxes, sign up. That appointment's free. 800-900-9654. Visit TriStateMen'sHealth.com today for more. 2 locations here in town. Quick exit off 270 in Hilliard and your Medical Mile in Westerville as well. 3 up in college football. I think you have to start. Fish texted me around 5:30 on Saturday, and he said, "Is Michigan back?" And I said, well, they're not back. But I said what we said last week when they went with Alex Orji. They have an identity. They have an identity. They are going to bludgeon you. They're going to try to run it against you. They're going to try to be physical. They are incapable of throwing the ball. If they don't break off the long run on the final series of the game, Khalil Mullings, if he doesn't break off that long run, would they have even attempted a pass? Orji attempted one pass inside the 5-yard line, damn near got it intercepted. I mean, he is scattershot. He can't hit anything. Mm-mm. He went 7-12 for 32 yards, and they beat SC. It's more about, I think, SC's inability to tackle, 46 for 290 on the ground for Michigan, than it is Michigan being back or anything. But at the very least, Michigan does have an identity, and they're just going to run it. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the Kirk Ferentz model at this point. Now, they're better at running than Iowa has been in recent years. I don't know if they're better than Iowa is this year, but it's that same idea that they are going to try to just limit the amount of points the other team can score and do just enough on offense. But is Michigan back? That was a surprising win. Good for them, whatever. No, not good for them. Who cares? It's Michigan. But the point is, like you said, is all predicated on a 60-yard run and a 4th and goal to get that touchdown. So a team that just doesn't let that happen and they can beat Michigan. Michigan is not going to be like, this is not a turnaround for Michigan that they're just going to run through the rest of their schedule. No. They can easily get got this year with that.
Do you know how many plays
that's their plan. How many plays they
78.
But 12 were passes?
Yeah, 78.
So that's six.
No. I'm sorry. 58. 58 plays. Yeah, 12 passes, 46 runs, 58 plays is what they ran. About what Ohio State ran. And they ran it on the ground over and over and over again.
Does Sharon Moore not have passing plans? Because this is what he did in the Penn State game.
Doesn't have passing people.
Yeah.
That's it. We said that a couple of weeks ago. It's stunning that they, as national champions, didn't go in the portal and go get a real quarterback.
It's crazy that their options are Alex Orji, who cannot throw it, and a kid who hasn't played significant football since 2018.
It's wild.
And that's what they said. That's good enough, defending national champ, sure.
Here's the thing, though. When you look at their schedule, and I said this in the first hour, it's really not about, for them, obviously they're not national championship. I don't think they're a playoff team. They could sneak their way in. But it's really about 8 or 9 wins and the wheels not falling off, as Reese said. That's what this is about. This is about the wheels not falling off. So you got Minnesota this week. Then they're at Washington, at Illinois, who's another team that's up. Nice win for them on Friday night. More on that in a second. Then Michigan State, Oregon at home, at Indiana, which now could be tricky, Northwestern at home, and then at Ohio State to close the season. So this is what he did with Alex Orji is wheels don't fall off. That's what that was about. There's no doubt. So they have an identity. They can get to 8 wins with him doing that, and that's the best they can hope for, Reese.
Because Davis Warren starts that game, they lose.
I agree.
They might not even have that early lead that they have.
No, I don't think
There's no chance because they were able to punch USC in the mouth and USC couldn't respond. And if they're trying to out-finesse USC, it wouldn't have, despite Miller Moss getting almost killed.
Yeah.
they lose if Davis Warren's your quarterback.
How closely did you guys watch Tennessee, Oklahoma Saturday night? You guys would have just finished your show, I think, and then would have bled into it. Did you watch it much?
I had it on the other screen, but I was watching the game for the pig the most. But it felt like Tennessee was just playing with Oklahoma the whole time. That they, like you said, they never really jumped out and took over like they looked like they could.
I think.
But Oklahoma never really threatened them either.
No.
Reese, I tried to test how I could do with a 3 TV setup. Because I wanted to see Florida State. I wanted to see how bad that could go, and it's really bad.
It's bad.
Also, the crew were playing Orlando City, and then I had Tennessee, Oklahoma on, and spoiler, I can't do the 3 TV thing. Like 2 is the max for Eric in terms of viewing and actually being able to pay cognitive attention to both.
I can do 3 if one is main and the other 2 are like just kind of look over and keep an eye on scores. I can do that. I thought Josh Heupel was doing Oklahoma solid.
He was soft.
That's what I thought. I thought they could have beat him like 42-7.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like they were,
because it's only even that close because Oklahoma scored later in the game too.
Right,
yeah.
and Tennessee's kicking field goals where you knew they could have got the 4th down. You knew they could have. Oklahoma, the Jackson Arnold kid could not throw it. He was a disaster. Then they went to a true freshman. He couldn't really throw it either. They're a mess. Oklahoma is a legitimate mess. I don't know if Tennessee's great. I don't know what it is, but they could have named their score in Norman on Saturday night. And I think Heupel, he won a national championship there. I think they did a nice job of honoring him, and so I think he took it easy. That's what it seemed like to me, because they could have picked any score. At one point, NBC's like, "Dad, why are we watching this? This is a blowout." Like, I just want to see if Oklahoma can do anything. And they really couldn't. They were completely inept.
Are we entering an unvenable situation in Oklahoma where they may have to change the coach?
I don't know about that, because I do think Tennessee, it was a really good investment, paying $8 million for Nico Iamaleava.
But they don't even, he was solid, but again, they just kind of like kept it in 3rd gear. They didn't even really shift. They just kind of hung and got it done.
And they still covered that way, too.
Yeah, I also want to give some credit to Bielema. That was a hornet's nest on Friday night that they walked into at Illinois, going down to Lincoln to play Nebraska. Nebraska, all of the momentum, undefeated, all of that stuff, the 400 sellouts, all that stuff. And he went in there and was fearless in the second half. That's why I loved him at Wisconsin. I loved him because he was a worthy adversary. He would throw the kitchen sink at you when you would play him. He's got Illinois ranked 4-0 with a quality win at Nebraska, and they did it fearlessly in the 4th quarter of that game and in overtime.
They beat a ranked Kansas as well already in this season, too. That game, it came down to the stretch, and they said, hey, Youngblood, beat us when you have to. And he couldn't get him into field goal range. And then the overtime, Illinois cut right through him, scored. And then it was 3 out of 4 plays that they ran. It was like 4th and 29 by the end of it, and that was the 3rd sack in overtime for Illinois. So they look really good. Also, I'm sorry, if LSU moves up a spot after what they did against UCLA, why is Indiana not ranked? Well, Indiana beat UCLA in the Rose Bowl last week by more, 42-13. They're 4-0.
You asked the question, and you know the answer.
I know.
Because LSU was ranked at the beginning of the year. And that's why when people say the initial polls don't matter, yes, they do.
And nobody's paying attention to the fact that Illinois is getting some of the attention, especially with the Nebraska highlight game on Friday. Indiana is playing just as good, as just as surprise in the Big Ten to me as Illinois. Now, they haven't beaten as good of teams, but this is a real Indiana squad this year.
No, and it's getting missed because they weren't on anyone's radar at the start of the year. And it's kind of that simple. Austin on what he took from the Buckeyes' big win over the weekend coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
The meatloaf!
The Fan.
Sherrod Brown says,
I'll work with anyone to protect Ohio.
But what Sherrod Brown does in D.C. has not protected Ohio women and children. Brown voted multiple times to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports. Not only unfair, but risking injury to female athletes. Brown even introduced legislation to allow transgender biological men into girls' locker rooms. And Brown would allow puberty blockers, even sex change surgery for children. Worse, Brown introduced a law to force women's domestic violence shelters to accept transgender biological men, inflicting more trauma on abused women. So when Brown says,
I'll work with anyone to protect Ohio,
Sherrod Brown is not protecting Ohio women and children. In fact, he's endangering them. Ohio deserves better. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
first down.
Oh, what? Just cleared that drain last week.
Well, clearly that didn't work. Would you please just call the waterworks?
At the Waterworks, we mean clean. We'll get your drains good as new on the first down. And as for him, well, there's always the Buckeyes. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results.
At Kroger Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Kroger Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Visit Kroger.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.
Did you know we have another station? More Buckeyes, more play-by-play, more everything.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2 or listen on the Fan app.
Your home for almost too much football. The Fan.
Hey, it's Steve. Sorry I couldn't get to the phone. Leave a message at the beep.
Hey, it's Jason from Chase. Congrats on closing day. Hope your daughter enjoys the new pool.
Start your house buying journey today with the Chase My Home digital dashboard. From applications to managing your mortgage, we're with you all the way home. Chase, make more of what's yours. Visit chase.com/home. Restrictions and limitations apply to the access of Chase My Home. Home lending products subject to credit and property approval. Rates and program terms subject to change. Other restrictions apply. Member FDIC. Equal housing opportunity.
Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns for its biggest year yet. For the first time with Metallica. 2 nights, 2 different set lists, no repeat weekend. Plus exclusive Metallica experiences. With Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, and over 100 more bands to be announced. 4 days, May 8th to the 11th at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Select passes on sale Wednesday, September 25th at SonicTempleFestival.com.
Heaven on earth. It's here in the mountain towns of West Virginia. Draped in vibrant reds, yellows, and oranges. Some of America's most spectacular fall colors. The perfect backdrop to autumn adventure. From scenic train rides to fall festivals. And a cozy cabin waiting at the end of the day. Fall is almost heaven in West Virginia. Plan your getaway at wvtourism.com.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Ohio Basement Authority. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at ohiobasementauthority.com.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
He knows everything about the Buckeyes. He's been offered tens of dollars by a certain team to spill his secrets. He's told that certain team to go to hell.
Damn you all to hell!
He's Austin Ward.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. More life, more energy.
And he joins on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Buddy, I led the show with this. I just need to see this team play somebody. I don't know what to do with these. I mean, there's never really in doubt. I'm bothered by some of the third down stuff in the first half, but how much of that is just playing vanilla? I don't know. What do you make of this? It's been a very difficult first month of the season to try to. I know they're talented, God knows that, but in terms of like week to week, it's tough.
Yeah, I thought about that. It's like, man, it's almost 10:30 on Monday. I don't know what Bo and I are going to talk about because I think that it's a little bit of a choose your own adventure. Like, yeah. I do think it's fair to say, well, who knows what this team is because they haven't played anybody. I don't think that you can take it to the level that Danny Cannell did and say that you got to play somebody with a pulse because lots of teams play MAC opponents or Sun Belt opponents and they don't look great or sometimes they lose. So I don't think that Saturday was the absolute best that Ohio State could play. Does it? If you want to, and we can look at those areas where the Buckeyes can get better and need to play better perhaps. Probably will play better once they, I think that it's a little bit wonky with the early off date and 3 straight non-conference opponents and all those other things. Like, so that's what, when I could keep going on that, but it's like, you're just going to, I think, and if there's no wrong way to view it, there's no right way to view it. And I don't think that anybody has to feel like Saturday was a great feel-good win. But also, winning by 35 can make you feel good. So I do think that it's sort of in the eye of the beholder. Probably in the Woody, they aren't doing backflips about that, and that's a good place to be as well as you get ready for Big Ten play.
I'm glass half full guy normally, buddy, and so let's start there. I do think that what this team is going to be, and if you listen to Ryan and Chip, they're going to bludgeon you in the run game. And when you play Oregon, when you play Penn State, Michigan, they are going to hit you with those two backs. They're going to road grade you. We haven't even seen Will run it. I think they are showing you what they are going to be offensively as this season goes along. And I do think Howard's been really clean. So I think those are things that are real and will travel. And I think they're showing you what they want to be offensively. What do you make of that part of it?
Yeah, well, I think that the most important part of that, Bo, is that Chip Kelly has only filled that glass on offense up about a quarter of the way to where it can go. Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, I think, are both playing at the best level of their career. I've watched all of Travion's, and I've only watched bits and pieces of Quinshon's, but I'd be hard-pressed to imagine that he's looked more explosive, dynamic, engaged than he has been in the last 2 outings for Ohio State, which is really good because I think that they're pushing each other, which is the part that's fun. I think the offensive line is continuing to grow. And then if teams decide, well, it's time to load the box and try and take away Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, good luck to you because then the RPO game comes in, then the play action comes in, then Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate come into the picture. So there's still stuff that Ohio State is getting to that I think, Chip Kelly, I've sort of compared this to the mad scientist, and he has every ingredient that he could ever possibly want, and he has not used them all yet. That's the part that I think, there was an interception on Saturday. That's the stuff that Will Howard's supposed to do. If you see Jeremiah Smith in one-on-one coverage, you're supposed to take that shot. Now, can you clean that stuff up? Do you not take that? Do you execute it at a different level? Later in the year, sure. But again, that's the nitpicking stuff. The big picture is this offense has an ability to beat teams every which way they want. And the most important thing that hasn't happened maybe in the last couple of years is that they can do that on the ground when they have to.
Yes, 100%. I think Will looks great, by the way. I think he's gotten better. I didn't even put that interception on him. I thought it was more on 4, and that'll be the only thing you'll ever hear anybody say negative about Jeremiah Smith because he's so damn good. But I thought it was more on him than on Will on that. Yeah, I mean, of course you take that shot. It's one-on-one with your most physically gifted player on the outside. You take that shot. What have you made of Will early on?
I'm really impressed with the poise, on and off the field, the way that he manages the game, manages media, manages everything. I think he's been as advertised as a leader, and you're seeing that, I think, with the way that Chip Kelly and Ryan Day are putting more on his plate with the decision-making, the RPO. Chip kind of joked about that last week. It's like, well, you guys don't know how many of those are actually his decisions. That's true. I don't. Only he and Will Howard do. But overall, you can tell that they trust him to do everything that this offense is cooking up. And I think this goes back to those days that you were out, Bo, for the start of training camp and the first person out there and the last one signing autographs. I think everything that comes with playing quarterback at Ohio State, Will Howard knew what he was signing up for, signed up for it on purpose. You get credit for doing that in my book just for the starters because the challenge is so daunting. But he has not flinched in the face of any of that. He's still the same guy through 3 outings. And look, there's going to be bigger challenges and more adversity coming his way down the road. But he could have blinked at some point in the last 9 months, 10 months, and he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. All right, let's do the glasses. I don't know, half empty isn't even it. Maybe a tenth empty. What do you? Inability to get off the field defensively, right? I mean, It was over the middle slants, mobile quarterback. Now we knock another quarterback out, so that's kind of the price you pay. But that's not going to happen when you play better teams down the stretch. Is there cause for concern defensively with the inability to get off the field on third down?
If the Tyleik Williams absence lingers, maybe, because I did not think that Ohio State was very good without him in the middle of the defensive line. Now, on second glance, you can go back maybe and look and see, well, total yardage was fine, 2 touchdowns, you're going to take that. You know, if we're going to put this on a grading scale with Marshall, I think I would have probably liked to see better from Ohio State early. They adjusted and they didn't give anything away in the second half. No points allowed in that half. And so again, that's if there's a tenth or 2/10 of water removed from that glass, it was still pretty good overall. But based on what Ohio State's own standards are for the defense, I think it was not where they wanted it to be. And I think that primarily that started with just some issues with those 2 spots in the middle. So if Tyleik Williams is back, you immediately think, or I do, that the Silver Bullets are going to be back to collapsing the pocket. They're going to be making tackles. They're going to be freeing up the linebackers to fill some gaps in a way that maybe they didn't quite do or weren't in position to do on Saturday. I don't really know what the answer or explanation is for that. I think that it had the attention of Ryan Day because I was watching him in the third quarter, and I'm in the press box. I'm a long way away, but he seemed to be putting his thumb on the scale with the personnel substitutions and packages for the defensive line in a way that I don't remember seeing from him in the past. So it had his attention, and I think that's key. That's important for Ryan Day moving forward. And I think if Saturday wound up being wake-up call, maybe, again, might be too strong of terms. If the defensive line looked at that and said, well, maybe the depth wasn't where they thought it was going to be at defensive tackle, or maybe the personnel decisions that they made between Hero Kanu or Taiwan Malone not playing Caden McDonald as many as snaps as those other guys, if that's a lesson that they take from that into Big Ten play, okay, I can get behind that as a positive moving forward, rather than just saying, well, it's broken beyond repair and these guys can't get it done. Because I think between Larry Johnson and Jim Knowles and the personnel that's on hand, my bet would be that Ohio State does get that figured out sooner than later.
You're the best, buddy. Look forward to getting some tests. I don't know if it'll come this week at East Lansing, but maybe we'll get a little bit more of a test on Saturday night. Appreciate your time, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Bo. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, the great Austin Ward right here at The Fan and Dotting the I's, the podcast, of course. That's why Austin's the best. He noticed something in the third quarter of a blowout game in terms of Ryan Day with defensive line substitutions. It's a very good job out of him. We hit Thing or Not a Thing coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the highest-rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Windows, siding, APCO. Absolutely. We don't rely on gimmicks to get customers. We rely on our reputation. APCO is a local, family-owned window and siding company established in 1962.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
You want Jersey Mike's signature sub? You get a number 13 original Italian. You want a dramatic radio idea? You get me. Like this. I'm the 7th-string quarterback, and the other 6 quarterbacks go down. The coach yells, DeVito, you're in. The crowd is worried until I throw a touchdown. But the other team is celebrating. Apparently, I threw the Jersey Mike's number 13 original Italian I was eating on the sidelines. Whoops. The number 13 original Italian, Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Attention Ohio pizza restaurant owners. Tired of glitchy point-of-sale systems slowing you down? Meet Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. With reliable hardware, an easy-to-use system, and 24/7 customer support, Hunger Rush speeds up your operations and boosts repeat orders by up to 10%. This is the restaurant point-of-sale built for pizza. Easily manage your drivers, easily take orders online, easily train your staff in minutes, and easily make modifications. Need to talk to a real person? That's easy too. Top Ohio pizzerias are winning with Hunger Rush. Solutions to help you streamline service, optimize workflows, and maximize profits. Join the thousands of successful restaurants transforming their operations with Hunger Rush for $0 down and $0 a month. Tools for menu management, marketing, customer engagement, and increased upsells, all in one simple platform. That's Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. Schedule your free no-obligation demo at ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com.
Join Skip Mossick, Paul Keels, and Jim Lachey for 2 whole hours of Scarlet and Gray goodness.
Thank you, football guy.
Buckeye Roundtable, Monday night at 6.
Presented by Burger King.
Your flagship home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan. Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. Have we spent enough time telling homeowners how much the name Eco can actually mean?
Well, I did name the company that, so yes.
I mean explaining that Eco can stand for how much better we can make your plumbing, ecologically speaking.
Get Eco.
ECO. A tankless water heater, for example. Switching to tankless means your family has unlimited hot water. Shower after shower after shower, without having to use precious electricity to keep a big tank of water hot 24 hours a day. It's ecological.
Pretty good wordplay for a guy that almost failed English, don't you think?
Get Eco.
ECO. I think if more people knew they could help the planet just by taking a shower, I think we might be onto something.
That's not quite as ecological as the first thing you said, but okay.
You know, I'm working on inventing a new kind of junk mail that throws itself away.
And the planet thanks you, Jerry.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey, it's our little thing or not a thing on a Reaction Monday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
First one up today, ESPN's Eli Lederman. He was sharing this. Dayton Raiola, a quarterback of the 2026 class and the younger brother of Nebraska freshman phenom Dylan Raiola, announced his commitment to Matt Rule and the Cornhuskers on Sunday night. Raiola, a 5'11", 215-pound junior, is Nebraska's first pledge of the 2026 class and is not currently in ESPN's high school prospects rankings for the class. The younger Raiola replaced Dylan as the starting quarterback at Georgia's Buford High School after he left for college, and he has led the Wolves to a 4-1 start this fall. Thing or not a thing?
The Raiola stayed in Buford, Georgia?
I guess.
What the hell would you stay in Buford?
They didn't want to move again?
Tired of packing the house?
I guess, but like, you moved all over the heck. I mean, they were in Arizona, and then they moved to Georgia so that Dylan could go to the University of Georgia.
If you're committing to Nebraska, why not just move to Lincoln at that point?
Right. What's stopping you? That's wild.
Yeah, I guess it's a thing.
Isn't that wild that they just stayed in Buford, Georgia?
They
what
like
would be
it?
the reason? Like, they can't be that popular there.
Well, I wonder, is Dayton just not as good? So he's not like being asked to transfer anywhere. So they're like, we'll just play here. It looks like you can slide into the starting spot. He's not in the ESPN rankings yet.
I'm going to tell you this. If he's starting in Buford, he's good.
Okay, well then, yeah, you're right.
No. That's a program. I mean, they are loaded as a program. It's northeast of Atlanta. Not really a suburb. It's kind of on the way to Augusta. But the idea that, I mean, that's just crazy to me. I don't understand that at all. In terms of them landing him, not a thing yet. We'll see. I mean, we're a long ways out.
I'm just trying to look for the Buford Wolves. Am I in the right? Buford, Georgia.
Yeah, I believe the Wolves is right. Yeah.
So they look to be pretty good. Yeah, they're 4-1 right now. So this is not really a thing because it's so damn far in the future. I mean, I guess not that far in the future, but yeah, good for the Raiolas for keeping the Nebraska lineage, right? That was a big thing for Papa Raiola, and now, with Dylan trying to be his best Pat Mahomes for the Cornhuskers, and now Dayton committing. I guess you like to see stuff like that with college football, but let me know when he gets on campus.
I think what we're curious about with Nebraska is, I mean, they're so ready, right? I mean, you saw that atmosphere on Friday night. They're ready. But can Dylan Raiola, can they finish this season strong and win 8 or 9 games? Can they spring an upset that they otherwise wouldn't spring? And then next winter in the portal, will there be people who want to come play with him? That's what it, because they need an influx of talent around him. He's good. He's really good, but they need more talent around him.
On Friday night, I was watching the game, and I kind of fell asleep as it went into the fourth quarter, and then obviously it went to overtime. But I didn't know that. All I know is that at one point I turned over, and I heard, because it was an exciting moment, so I registered it, and it's like, and Illinois holds on to win against Nebraska, and I just smiled and thought, another one-score loss.
Same old Scott. Where's Scotty Frost when you need him?
All right, so I'm looking here. He's got 4 touchdowns through, 5 games on the season? He's only got, 64 attempts. So they like to run the football.
Okay.
His stats are fine. This is fine. But definitely not a thing that far into the future.
He can play if he's quarterbacking there. Like, they're not screwed. That's big boy football.
But he doesn't seem to have the push that Dylan had, like, in his junior year.
No. Look, there's a lot of those guys. Marcus Vick at Virginia Tech comes to mind. Tua's brother, Talia. Didn't he start off at Alabama before going with Loxley to Maryland? So, there's a lot of guys that happens with.
The Big Ten announced basketball schedules last week. We just didn't get a chance to it because, football. Ohio State's going to play at Cincinnati on October 18th. Coming soon, folks. That's going to be an exhibition. They'll begin conference play Wednesday, December 4th in Maryland. Going to host Oregon on January 9th. Only one time against the Wolverines this season, which I always think's a travesty. Michigan's going to be in town Sunday, February 16th. Jake Diebler and company are going to play 2 in Los Angeles, February 23rd at UCLA, then the 26th at USC. Ohio State's going to host Nebraska for Senior Day, Tuesday, March 4th. Thing or not a thing?
I can't say this more strongly. Go to hell, Big Ten bosses. Straight. You're going to play Michigan once when you're Ohio State? Your Senior Day is Nebraska? The last home game is Nebraska? Traditional Big Ten rival Nebraska? You quite literally could have played anybody from the original Big Ten on Senior Day. You could have done Michigan State, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois. Any of them would have sufficed. But instead, you're playing Nebraska on Senior Day. Really? This is what we're doing with our time. In terms of scheduling, the only thing interesting here is that they're going to Los Angeles, and that's what I think a lot of the teams are going to do. They're going to get kind of that double dip in L.A., play UCLA and USC. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, obviously.
What are we doing?
Didn't they only play Michigan once last year up there?
Stupid.
So that's 2 years in a row where you've only played Michigan once instead of the home and home.
Just gross.
If we're going to protect rivals in football, then those rivalries should be home and home every year in basketball. As long as the schools want it, and I think both of these schools would want it, because any chance to play Michigan for Ohio State is something that they revere, and any chance vice versa works for Michigan. At least that's my understanding of it up there, up north. But the other one that stands out is not the Cincinnati Cincinnati exhibition game in general, but it just reminds me of like, why can't we get that together where there's some sort of like 3-game like showcase in Ohio? And we've had it sometimes, but why can't like UD, Cincinnati, Xavier, Ohio State, a couple of the MAC schools
That's all you need.
all get together somewhere? And it doesn't even have to be a tournament, but it can just be like a triple header day of 6 teams.
So we'd have to get the MIT kids on this, but Quiz sent me this, and Quiz is usually pretty locked in. He said there's only 3 weekend games, home games all season long for Ohio State.
Holman was complaining about that last year, so I wonder if that they just keep getting stuck with that.
Pull it up to know, but so basically for television, you're going to see a peacock a lot. Is what this is going to be. As
long as they're not 9 p.m. weeknight games, that's my least favorite.
Yeah,
that's
like
tough.
if they're not playing Saturdays or Sundays. I mean, remember like when I covered the team on a daily basis, and it was, through that great run with Diebler and Buford and Sullinger and Kraft and all those guys. Those teams, I mean, those Sunday afternoons on CBS.
Yep.
That was the games, man. Those were the monster games, and now those are extinct.
I'll shorten this one up for you real quick, but the Cincinnati Reds have fired manager David Bell. They did that on Sunday with 5 games to go. They are 76 and 81, 4th place in the NL Central. Thing or not a thing?
It's interesting. I hear from more Reds fans than Guardians fans. Like, I feel like I get more Reds fans. I hear them more. And how consistently bad have they been for how consistently long?
Joey Votto won an MVP.
2012.
It's been a long time. Meantime, the Guardians win the division. They're in the postseason over and over and over again. Like, it's hard to know if Cincinnati is still a baseball town because of how inept they've been for so long.
It'd be like if the Packers were just terrible for 20 years.
Just bad. Always. It's wild to me how consistently bad that operation has been. I have no idea if the manager's the problem. Who knows?
2010 for the NL MVP for Votto. Excuse me. It's
14 years?
They got, why don't you fire him at the end of the season?
Yeah, 5 games left.
It's so silly. I know they're in Cleveland Tuesday and Wednesday. It's like, who cares right now? Like, now that felt on Sunday like it felt like a very Cincinnati Reds thing to do, and that's not a good thing.
No, I would say not. We'll blitz the Buckeyes coming up next. 3 down in college football as well. And the Bengals in action tonight. An odd Monday Night Football doubleheader. We'll get to it all in the final hour. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
The Columbus Men's Clinic opened in 2014 for guys who get it done. Let's talk, fellas. You solve problems all day at work. You fix your sink when it's broken. But when it comes to ED and low T, it doesn't get done. We get it. You hate going to the doctor, but you're the guy that fixes things. At the Columbus Men's Clinic, there's nothing to fear and no reason to delay. We've been destroying bedroom boredom for a decade. So if you haven't fixed this, call us. When the pills fail, call us. If you feel like you've tried everything, call us. Here, there's hope. From the conventional to the next level. You'll be seen by our friendly, discreet physician who will take the time to listen. Imagine finally taking care of this with no surgery. Imagine going from feeling gray to living life in vibrant color. It's time to be confident. Join the thousands of guys who have found success after walking through our doors. Will you be one of them? Dial 614-300-7400 or go to columbusmensclinic.com to schedule a $99 male performance consultation, including blood work. Do it for you. Do it for her. columbusmensclinic.com. Book your appointment now.
You can use your phone at a doctor's office. You can use your phone at a football game. You can even use your phone at an amusement park. But one place you should never use your phone is behind the wheel. Fines now start at $150. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota. Is it time for a new or used car? Visit Tansky Sawmill Toyota on the corner of Sawmill and 161. home of the Tansky Promise, where our salespeople aren't paid on commission. We have a 72-hour exchange policy, and every transaction is upfront and transparent. You can even start the process at home. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com to start your purchase today and to see all of this month's specials. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
Are you ready to build your company's dream team? Just like in sports, finding skilled players is essential for success. With Robert Half's winning combination of specialized recruiting professionals and award-winning AI, we'll help you find the MVPs and key role players who will have you hanging banners in the rafters. Because in business, it's all about having the experienced team on your side. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
We are back, and we are looking at a pretty lopsided matchup, Jim.
That's right, Ron. I mean, in one corner, we've got a 175-pound guy, and in the other, a 6,000-ton heavyweight train.
Jim, this guy has no idea what he's getting himself into.
It's no contest. Every day, people tempt fate and die trespassing on railroad tracks. See tracks? Think train.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Number 3 Ohio State takes their 3-0 record north to East Lansing this Saturday. Buckeyes are 25-point favorites over 3-1 Michigan State. Saturday's kickoff is 7 p.m. Hear from Ohio State's head coach tomorrow at noon. Ryan Day will hold his weekly press conference then. He'll join Skip Mossick, Paul Keels, and Jim Lachey tomorrow night around 6:30 for a Tuesday edition of Buckeye Roundtable. On the Fan tonight, the Blue Jackets begin preseason play at the Buffalo Sabres. Face-off is 5 p.m. We'll have pregame coverage on the Fan at 4:45. Common Man and T-Bone will make way for the CBJ. The boys are going to move their show over to ESPN Columbus, 1460 on the AM dial at 4:45. And in the NFL, Week 3 wraps up with a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Bills will host the Jaguars at 7:30. At 8:15 in Cincinnati, the Bengals get T. Higgins back against the Commanders. This update is sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus. From F-150 to F-750, Valley Ford of Columbus is Ohio's commercial truck headquarters.
Are you fired up? Is it Monday? It must be Reaction Monday.
Sponsored by the Roofing Guys.
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination. They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
You know, I always had a problem with that rejoin because actually we've been very good picking college football and NFL through the years. Historically good on the NFL side of things last year. This year, however,
it's tough. It's tough out there.
It's hard in the streets, kids. It's hard to keep your... How'd you do NFL, Reese? Did you do better?
I'm 5-9 going into tonight.
Dude, I think I got 3 right.
I even 3-11 going into Monday Night Football.
Oh, and
it's
then
a disaster.
We had that
football, college is hard.
We had that stupid middle ground where you and I went different on some picks, but we just each got like every other one right, and so we end up with like basically the same record. You know, at least do a fun one where you go 3-8 and I go 8-3 or something like that, or vice versa. Like I said, I think we're both 5-6 this week.
I mean, the number on the college stuff is confounding in terms of what's happening week to week. The NFL, the San Francisco 49ers are 1-2. They were up 14-0 on the Rams and lost. Okay? Like, this, it don't make sense what's happening. The Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, threw for 300 yards against the Raiders.
Well, no, that makes sense. He's been waiting.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what is... I've never been this off on the NFL. I mean, it's crazy how brutal it is in the streets, kids. So be careful out there. We did warn you. I know last week we warned you, though. I didn't like the lines. I didn't like the picks. It was not comfortable, and it showed. It showed on the NFL. And college wasn't a whole lot better. Let's blitz the Buckeyes.
Bishop and Friends present Buckeye Blitz.
Sponsored by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers. Visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
All right, Reese, what do we do well?
Acquire talent. Very well.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Buckeyes, I think it's right now what I'm impressed is not just the success of the O-line, but on multiple plays. On, the screen, it's designed to roll guys out there, but that screen that went for the long touchdown, where the linemen were when they finally made contact. Yeah. And you're seeing on run plays, too, that getting offensive linemen 4-5 yards downfield when they're making their first contact, they're already in the second level. Boom, boom, hat on a linebacker type stuff. That's what's causing these runs, big screen plays, that kind of stuff. So it's not just the play of the offensive line. If you really look at it, pay attention to how they're getting to the second level right now.
We run the damn ball. I think we can run it against anybody. I think those two backs are superstars. I think Peoples is really good, too. When he gets in there, and the future is very, very bright. If Quinshon doesn't have the 80-yarder called back, he's 37 for 416 and 6 touchdowns. Realistically, and actually, he's 36 for 336 and 5 touchdowns. Travion's 29 for 207 and 4. We haven't even let Will run it yet because he hadn't need to. They can run the ball, I'm convinced, against anybody in the country, including Georgia, when they play them. Won't beat Georgia or maybe Texas if we continue to do what, Reese?
It's nitpicky, but this is what we have to do after games like this. The score is 49-14. Turn the ball over. Like, I don't put any of the interception on Will Howard because I think we're all going to be dishonest if we go, Jeremiah Smith single covered down the sideline. Yeah, I'm throwing it to him.
Too risky.
I don't know. Come on. You're taking that all day, every day. If a team's going to give it to you, you'd be silly not to. Four's got to learn better. He's a freshman, so he will. So, yeah, turning the ball over is bad.
Yeah, and we talked about, defense do better on third down, but that's just everybody can do better on third down, I think, is probably there. So I went with this one. Yeah, maybe it's more of a joke, but don't lose your line of sight in the sun. A muffed punt that was almost a 14-point swing because there was a penalty and they had to punt again. Buckeyes scored on the next play offensively, and then there were a couple of kickoffs that went out of bounds, and it looked like Fielding was saying, I lost it in the sun. I agree. It was very sunny, and in your most important games, you probably will be in a dome a lot of times now, but still, got to keep your eyes open if the sun's out.
Yeah, in all seriousness, kick the ball off effectively.
Yeah, right.
We don't do that very well. I don't think we can just kick it out of bounds. That's not great. But I have a feeling that will get sorted out. I was bothered, and I continue to be bothered by the first half teams picking up third downs on you. You go back to the Akron game even. Akron was 2 of 3 on fourth down in that game. They end up going 4 of 16 because second half you can't hang on. Same thing in this one. Marshall was really good picking up third downs, and that is a point of concern going forward. How do you get off the field on those third downs? That'll be something I'll watch for certainly this week against Michigan State. All right, I'd like to see more of what, Reese?
Julian Sane.
Same.
So I'm going to leave that there.
You're in the Sandlot. Some more of what? We haven't seen him. Some more what?
He's been there once through 3 games in 4 weeks. Yeah. As of right now, when the twos go in, and maybe in the next 2 weeks, Michigan State and Iowa, you'll get a series, maybe run the full complement of Ohio State's offense with Julian Sane, please.
Bo, you've talked about a lot how it looks like, the idea is going to be we are going to road great and we are going to run the ball. And a lot of that, I think, is Chip Kelly bringing there. So that's an overall difference that we are already noticing through these first 3 games. But a specific instance that I'm noticing where I'm pretty sure Chip Kelly brought that one in. Or they decided to bring him in, whatever. But I think it's because of Chip Kelly. Those misdirection counter type runs that they were doing on Saturday, more of those, please. Those are awesome. Puts your offensive lineman in great position to open up huge holes. Puts your running back in a position where he can choose where the play opens up for him and he can choose his running lane, and it just gets the defense confused. I loved those.
Yeah, I went with Reese, actually put Julian as well. I just don't think Devin's accurate. I think we've kind of seen a decent amount.
It's it. We've seen all we need to see.
Yeah, it's just,
and it kind of supports what we've thought about why he couldn't win the competition the last 2 years.
Yeah, you could see how he would pop with the deep ball and all of that, but you need somebody accurate, and he's just not as accurate as he needs to be. Coach, you earned the courtesy car, Reese. Who do you got?
Carlos Lachlan. Quinshon, Travion. It's a ton of fun to have. They're incredible, but James Peoples is going to be quite the dude very soon.
Because of the turnover at a lot of positions and new hires and everything, I think that Justin Fry is probably the assistant with the most hot seat feeling of this season. And the O-line not only playing well across the first 3 games, but they looked really good yesterday. And that has to work for this running game to work as well. And right now they're working in tandem. So Justin Fry, you get the courtesy car this week.
I'm going to go Chip because I think he's held a lot back, and I think he's just evil laughing with the talent at his disposal in the background. Just I can just see it. I mean, it's all coming together the way that it wants, and it's going to be as dynamic as his Oregon offenses were. Game Ball's offense, Reese, who do you got?
That's just so many. I mean, Quinshon's the obvious one.
Yep.
But, Will Howard, you can get one too. Travion Henderson, you can get one. Donovan Jackson will come back. You can get one. 49 points. Pretty good.
It's Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah,
everybody gets one.
If you want to do it that way, let's just give it to the yards per carry average of your 1A, 1B running back tandem. 12.4 for Quinshon, 12.7 for Travion. And even if you take out their longer runs, and Travion's high was only that 40-yard touchdown, but if you take out the 86, I haven't done the math, but I'm imagining they're both in the 8 yards a carry. And that's what you said earlier is the real thing is they're not getting 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yard, and just breaking off a big one that helps it. No, when they're not breaking off a big one, they're getting 8 yards right away automatically. And then every once in a while they break a big one.
They averaged 9 yards a carry.
For the season?
This game as the team. This team in this game averaged 9 yards a carry. You can go Q. I would go Q. I just think he's just a problem. He's going to be a problem for people as this season goes along. Game Ball's defense, who do you got, Reese?
Was it Quinshon who stiff-armed a Marshall player into the Earth's core?
Into the ground.
I mean, just...
he looks like the video game. He looks like how he looks on the video game. That's really what he looks like.
Game Ball's defense, Lathan Ransom. That's not great when he's leading the team in tackles, but he's so much fun to watch out there, and you can tell he's having a good time with it.
Yeah, I think you can make a pretty good argument that he's the most active defensive player just about. Maybe Jack Sawyer, who I think you could also give it to this week. Nobody really stood out. I'll throw out the stat, though, because we haven't seen him have a big play yet. Caleb Downs was the highest-graded Big Ten safety by PFF College. 79.3. All right, good job. But let's, see the play. Now he just hasn't been asked to do it yet.
We're just still waiting on that from him. I saw that as well. You could go the back end of the defense. I mean, they held up certainly. Again, though, get off the field. Got to get off the field. Big Ten threat level. Reese, who in the league impressed this weekend?
Kurt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers.
Great win.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a video game offense. They haven't played anybody, and I think they've got Maryland Saturday at noon. So I don't know what the hell that's going to mean. But, boy, they could loom as a trap before the game for Ohio State, the second to last week in November.
Yeah. If they put it on Maryland, I think it's pretty reasonable to put Indiana at, the bottom of the first half of the Big Ten, get into that kind of range. And then we'll see what they can do the rest of the year. I think Illinois can be thrown in there, too. But Penn State... That looked like, okay, that was a blip, that week 2 after they beat West Virginia. Now they took care of Kent State just fine. So they're still a real team this year.
Yeah, I think all the eyes did pretty good. Indiana did really well. Illinois did really well. Illinois probably got the signature Big Ten win of the weekend. And then I love Floyd of Rosedale. So Iowa scoring 30 points made me happy. PJ at Minnesota, there was a moment and it's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gone.
All that momentum's gone, and they're just where they were. They're
right back to where they were.
You go 7-5 most years, something like that.
Yep. You have our attention now. Team around the country that had a weekend, Reese.
I think it's Tennessee. I think you go into Norman and you dominate for 4 quarters. The score wasn't sexy. I wanted to say Ole Miss because that score is sexy, and Ole Miss has been sexy on offense for 4 weeks, but. Yeah, that's a hell of a win by Tennessee, who, if there was anybody out there, and I don't know how many people were doubting if they were a legitimate contender, I think they are.
I do, too.
I think that Utah won the Big 12 on Saturday.
It's done.
Kansas State lost, so they picked up a loss. They got
BYU
38-9. You're right. So Utah beats Oklahoma State. The rest is Arizona State, TCU, Houston. They've got BYU, Colorado, Iowa State, UCF. So BYU and Iowa State currently ranked. I think they're better than both of those teams right now. Utah, it's not that they impressed, but they should be able to take the Big 12 now.
They are the only team that can save that conference from delivering a 4-loss team to the playoff.
Right.
Just them. They're it. Cam Rising didn't play. Fine. They were fine. It's Tennessee. Tennessee annihilated NC State. They could have put. I truly am convinced that Heupel went easy on Oklahoma. I really think he did. His clock management, deciding to kick field goals when they easily could have picked it up on short third downs and fourth downs. I think he took it easy because it was the alma mater. I think they could have beat him 49-7. Honesty, I think Tennessee looks really good. They annihilated NC State. They look like they check every box at this point, and they're right there on that cusp of those teams. Go ahead, Chops.
Do you think Heupel is gunning for the Oklahoma job if it comes open?
I don't know if Oklahoma's a better job than Tennessee.
I don't know either, but if it's home it's not home. He's not from Oklahoma, but he played there.
No, he was there for 14 years.
Yeah, you're right.
I would imagine
coached there so long too.
Yeah, he played there. He coached there. I think it probably is. I'll save the time. I know we're up against it. Win it all great. It's an A. But we got to go play somebody, and that's something that'll happen hopefully here over the next 3 weeks or so. 3 down in college football. You mentioned one of them, Oklahoma. My goodness, what a mess they are offensively. We will get to that. And a Big Ten team who laid a big-time egg. That's coming up next in 3 Down. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Common Man and T-Bone here for the sportsbook, the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside Hollywood Casino. Yes, they've changed the name.
It is better than ever, but they're still going to have your favorite teams on the biggest screens. You can place your bets, grab some wings and an ice-cold pint, and even hang out with us.
We're going to be there broadcasting live from 3 to 6, Friday, September 27th. And we've got tickets to give away, so come and be with us and hug us.
Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Rothman and Ice.
They were trying to act like a team that can't be bought. Slap that on one of your print the shirts.
Built, not bought.
Rothman and Ice. Built, not bought.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
They come here illegally, crossing our southern border. Then Sherrod Brown rolls out the welcome mat for them here in Ohio. Brown voted to give amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants, including those convicted of crimes like drunk driving, aggravated assault, and child abuse. And Sherrod Brown voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities in Ohio, which release dangerous illegals back onto the street, making Ohio's neighborhoods less safe. And while we struggle to make ends meet, Sherrod Brown is voting to give illegals taxpayer-funded benefits, like health care for illegals granted amnesty, Social Security, COVID relief checks, even a program to fly Haitian migrants into Ohio airports, all paid for by you, the taxpayer. You think you know Sherrod Brown? Well, after 31 years in Washington, Sherrod Brown's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
You can use your phone at a doctor's office. You can use your phone at a football game. You can even use your phone at an amusement park. But one place you should never use your phone is behind the wheel. Fines now start at $150. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
Did you and your family lose Ohio Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. Bring your ideas to life at Dell.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
It's the first full day of fall, and it will feel like the season we're in. Mostly cloudy to cloudy skies, maybe a stray shower. Otherwise, expect a dry day with temperatures right around 80 degrees. For tonight, we will see showers and thunderstorms developing overnight. Lows down into the 60s, and that lingers into Tuesday. Breezy conditions and daytime highs climbing into the upper 70s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo.
The only radio show Ryan Day listens to when we're holding him hostage, making him listen to a radio show. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And just keep it locked here at The Fan all Reaction Monday long. Jim Lachey, Ian Fitzsimmons on with Rothman and Ice. Jim at 12:33, Ian at 2:33. Man and Bone, 3 to 4:45 will be right here on 97.1, and then they will move from 4:45 to 6 to 1460 AM HD2 so that we can bring you the Blue Jackets and this preseason hockey.
The preseason's here. It's the first one, and it's a 5 p.m. face-off.
5 p.m. face-off at Buffalo on that one. Okay, very good. By the way, like Man and Bone on the AM.
Does the AM have FCC rules? I don't think so, actually.
I don't
they
think
can just
so.
they can just do whatever they want.
I think Brother Bone and Mike, I mean,
that would actually be a really good way to revitalize AM radio as a band.
What do they call it? Oh, like
to say that no FCC rules on AM. It is any content you want.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
It feels like it could be like a director's cut of the show. Like that type of thing. Here's all the stuff that we can get away with. So, and they get a lot, and obviously appropriately. But yeah, so you have that to look forward to right here on The Fan. Then you got NFL football, Jaguars and Bills. Weird doubleheader. We'll get to that coming up at 11:33 with what I don't know what ESPN is attempting to do here. We'll try to make sense of it coming up. 3 down in college football. I do want to start here because this was brought to my attention by NBC on Saturday night, the 12-year-old, as we were watching, and he saw that Northern Illinois lost to Buffalo. And he goes, Dad, I hate when that happens. And I said, me too, bud. It sucks. NIU gets a program-defining win at Notre Dame 2 weeks ago. We circled that date. And then last week, Toledo beat Mississippi State, beat the brakes off of Mississippi State down in Starkville. We had found that date. I want to say it was October 19th that those two teams play each other. It's the same day as Texas. It plays Georgia, so you're not going to get game day or any of that. But we thought, God, could the winner of that be ranked?
Playoff implication match,
playoff
possibly.
implications, all of it. 2 undefeated teams. They both lost. Toledo lost this weekend to Western Kentucky, right? And NIU lost to Buffalo. How does this happen? Why? Why can you go do that and then you lose to teams you should beat? It sucks, and it sucks for them. It sucks for the leagues. It's a good league, and unlike Kent State, those poor kids. I mean, they got bludgeoned by Tennessee, then they get paid to be bludgeoned by Penn State. Like, what was their score the last 2 times out? Like 127-0?
Kent State really just takes the money and doesn't run, I guess, because they can't. They just get beaten down.
Checks all cash, but wow, the physical toll is extreme.
So here's going to be a problem, and we've all talked about the 5 seed right now seems better than the 1 seed. Like, there's all these little issues that are happening with the way they built the college football playoff, and this one I think is the biggest problem is And it is already like trickling up to what we would call power conferences. The ACC and the Big 12 aren't very far from the fact that they could cannibalize each other, and they're not really going to have a worthy, at least rankings-wise, playoff team. And that's going to happen with the Group of Five. I like the idea. I've always been on that. The Group of Five has access to it, but there probably should be a stipulation that they have to be somewhere in the rankings, because we might have an unranked Group of Five as the highest rated right now. It's just not playing out well, and it's because the conferences themselves, we talked about this on Saturday, have turned into a Ponzi scheme. Because if you look at what's going on with the Pac-12, they think that they can just rob the Mountain West and maybe the American to stay at the power, but you're not going to stay at the power. But then they're going to have to rob another conference, and then eventually you're going to have to rob the FCS, which is going to have to go to Division II. And it's a problem. As soon as you made the conferences at the top larger, all the other conferences started to steal from each other to stay there, which means it looked like it was going to be the Pac-12. They might save themselves. But one of these 10 conferences is going away. There's not enough teams to make it.
Might be the Mountain West, which is kind of a fun league, but that league may vaporize. It may be done. Yeah.
There's only going to be 9 FBS conferences in 5 years.
Yeah. Might even be fewer, honestly, and you probably need a divisional thing. I just think it sucks for the MAC teams to and you're a MAC guy, Reese, but I mean, you watch those and you think, God. By the way, Kent State, last 2 times out, Tennessee 71, Kent State 0, Penn State 56, Kent State 0. State school, but by my math, that's 127-0 the last 2 weeks. That's tough.
Talking about
sledding.
Talking about scores and talking about down. Mac Brown at UNC. Did you see the score?
70. He gave up 70.
They scored 50. How often do you lose when you score 50?
Did you see the halftime score? They had 50 at half.
I know that JMU had the over at half.
They had 50 at half. I think it was 52-0 at half in that game. Yeah. And Mac, I mean, he's 73. You know, like he was in the TV booth and all of that. And then he came back to Carolina, had some momentum with the 2 NFL quarterbacks, with Drake May and the guy who was with Washington,
Sam Howell.
Yeah. It was 7. They lost 70-50. They were 3-0 before losing at home 70-50. It was that's right. It was 53-21 at half.
And James Madison,
53.
most of their team that was good the last 2 years is playing at Indiana. Kurt Cignetti brought over all the good players with him when he came to IU, and they're still doing this. So
they may. I wonder if he ends up
James Madison program too.
I wonder if he ends up at North Carolina. Like that, if Mac leaves, wouldn't that make sense for him to go there, to go to North Carolina?
Do 1 year. Hey, I can do this at Indiana.
You got to get out.
Do North Carolina.
Learn from PJ. Mm-hmm. Get out while the getting's good. Learn from the
Matt Campbell.
Matt Campbell at Iowa State. Like you got to go. 2 others down. I think it was stunning how poorly USC tackled the football. It just was stunning because to lose a game where the other team cannot throw the football, period, in your Big Ten opener, that's impossible.
Like, you know what they're going to do.
You know what they're going to do. And they did it. And they could not tackle them. And if they just tackle, they win that game. And then I think the other one's OU. I think OU has got some real offensive
with the Bobcats because they were bad against Kentucky.
Well, you have an OU hoodie, which I love with the Sooner Schooner on it, but they can't throw it.
No, I was thinking watching or trying to watch OU Tennessee while I was trying to watch Cal FSU while I was also trying to watch the Crew in Orlando City. Like, is it more a Tennessee thing where they're just going to make teams look like that? Or is Oklahoma problematic offensively? And I came out thinking it's both. Like, Tennessee's been beating the brakes off of teams that you'd never heard of up until this game. And they went in and they could have called their score. I do think Josh Heupel was a little soft because that was a homecoming for him. And he was talking about the emotions and, his best man's on the OU staff. And fine. But I think if you're Tennessee, now that I think about it, you don't need style points. So go in and just get the win.
I think,
but Oklahoma's a middling team that's in a lot of trouble come Red River.
I'm going to give you a game to watch. Red River's in 3 weeks. They are at Auburn, who is their own set of mess right now. Like the middle, I'll tell you this, like for all the people wanting to champion the SEC, the middle of that league ain't very good. The top of it is really good. I think there's 4 teams, and we'll see about Ole Miss, who can beat anybody. But the middle of that league, you're talking about the Texas A&Ms, the Floridas, Oklahoma, Auburn, those teams, none of those teams are much.
Yeah, and actually right now, I think you would make the argument that the middle of the Big Ten looks stronger than the middle of the SEC. We'll see how that plays out throughout the season. With Oklahoma, I do think Brent Venables is in like the inverse situation of Luke Fickell. He brought in and said, I'm a defensive coordinator. We're going to get this up. Let's change the culture. Oklahoma's had this great offense for the last 5 years. Now, it wasn't as long-standing quite as Wisconsin, with it being so specific, because Lincoln Riley definitely upped what their offense, but they were still always an offensive juggernaut in one form or the other. Trying to change that on the fly with a program that's really situated in that's tough.
He's trying to do, like when they won the national title there and he was the defensive coordinator with Stoops' brother, that's what they was defensively. They did it defensively. Rocky Kalmus, Torrance Marshall, it was the defense, and Heupel didn't have to do a whole lot. They were decent offensively, but it was with the defense. You can't win that way. And they are incompetent offensively. That Jackson Arnold kid was done. He was benched. He was number one quarterback a couple of years out. And that's the reason Dylan Gabriel transferred, because he thought that kid was going to beat him out. Jeez.
I don't think he would have now.
I don't either. A very strange weekend in the NFL over the weekend. Sam Darnold is the best quarterback in the NFC. This is where we're at. Will there be some return to normalcy tonight? If you're saying, well, sure, there'll be a Monday nighter. No, there'll be 2. We'll explain coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is the Ryan Day Show, brought to you statewide by Safelite Auto Glass. You're 3-0. I guess that's where you want to be. Just so impressed by your ability to run the football in these first 3 games.
Well, it's something that we need to do, we want to do, and good balance overall. But when you can be explosive in the passing game and then also run the ball the way that we did, and the big plays obviously are deadly. So we're going to keep building on it as we go. But I think we're starting to find our identity on offense.
Heard you talking intensity in there. Are you where you want to be?
No, yeah.
Effort-wise.
Yeah, everybody. You just see the first 3 games, bunch of guys running hard, playing hard. But that's it. We want to bring intensity in every single play. It doesn't matter what play it possibly is. And we want a bunch of guys running the football on defense and playing really hard on offense. And I think you saw that. I think the offensive line played hard. I thought the wideouts played hard. The running backs played downhill today, ran physical. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah. We'll have a final comment after this.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams, the agile, get it done teams, the achieve more together teams, and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
Back with Coach Day. Unsportsmanlike conduct. You are getting after it on the sideline. You looked like, what are they doing over there, taking forever to get on the field? Care to comment?
No, not really, but we're gonna be intense. We all got to do our part. We all got to do our job, and we're going to be intense, and we're going to make sure that I'm defending the players and doing my part.
Outstanding. This is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference.
Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 Roof.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties are just $4.99 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, or whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
Well, you got not one, but 2 Monday Night Football games tonight.
Kind of.
And it's not even what we're normally used to getting when you get the 2 Monday Nighters. Historically, when you get the 2 Monday Nighters, they go one at 6 o'clock and one at 9:15. That's not what this is at all. They're actually competing with themselves. I don't get it. I don't know why they're doing it this way. They're staggering the starts 45 minutes. So it's 7:30 on ESPN. You'll have Jaguars and Bills, and you can listen to that one right here on The Fan. And then at 8:15 on ABC, you will get Commies and Bengals down in Cincinnati. So 45 minutes. One will start. The other one's not going to be at halftime, though.
It'll be end of first, maybe. Yeah, right.
Yeah, halfway through the second quarter. I feel like I got a pretty good handle on what rates and television ratings and why people do things and the thoughts of television executives just from all the years of being in local television. I don't get this. I don't know what they're going for here. Obviously, they're going to try and sell the total audience, but that audience would be there. The audience would be there if you had one game. Like if you just did Commanders Bengals at 8:15 on ABC, that would do a monster number. So what are you getting out of Jags and Bills for 45 minutes? I don't understand it.
And they've been doing this for a few years, and I don't know if it's really been all that successful for them. Maybe they do better than like the second game used to when they did the traditional doubleheader, but it feels like everything that television networks do is to try to drive you to the app. So I'm interested, like clicking on the ESPN, whatever. I don't know which ones I get for ESPN Plus and which ones I get for my parents' cable login on ESPN, but I have access to both. So I'm interested. Are they going to package these in any ways? Are they going to give their own split screen of the 2 games going on? Is there some sort of additional coverage with it, or is it just 2 football games on networks that they both own, playing it essentially the same footprint?
I don't know. I don't know what the objective is here at all. Here's what I do know is that Cincinnati's in a must-win situation, that they cannot drop to 0-3. With a win, they will be 1-2, same record as the Browns. They cannot fall 3 full games behind Pittsburgh, who is 3-0 with Justin Fields while we were all worried about him going there, and they have identity and they play defense and they do all of these things. All of a sudden, Justin Fields ripping balls everywhere he wants all over the field. He had a gorgeous ball on a crosser yesterday. He's playing wildly efficient, and the Steelers are 3-0. The Ravens said, we're not quite done yet. They went to Dallas. It got dicey in the second half, and man, Dallas almost came all the way back, but not enough.
Why can't the Ravens close out games? This has been like their MO the whole season, and
I don't know.
Hearing Maddie
I think they
talk
lose
too
their
about the ice.
identity.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
A little bit of identity in the fourth quarter. They kind of lose their way a little bit. Lamar still takes a ton of hits. He takes a ton of hits, even in the game yesterday when they were up big. So Cincinnati cannot get in a situation where they are 0-3. And I think this is a must-win for them. It's a big number, Reese. 7.5 for the Bengals at home against the Commies.
Don't love it. We'll do our picks later at the end of the show, but it'll be close. I think Cincinnati wins because I think Washington's bad, but I said the same thing about the Browns and the Giants, so what the hell?
And I said the same thing about the Patriots when the Bengals played them week one, and I think the Jets proved on Thursday night that, no, we weren't wrong about the Patriots. They're not very good. But the Bengals, are they good enough? T. Higgins is supposed to play. We talked about that on Saturday, got that news, so that's good for the Bengals. Hopefully they have the whole complement of their offense, and they should be able to beat this Commanders team that is, at this point, just kind of trying things out with their rookie quarterback. They're not going out there
honest to God,
with
it's
any
probably,
expectations.
Washington might be the worst defensive team in football, too. Like, you should be able to spin it at will on them, I would think.
It feels right. This is a think and feel like it should be a get-right game, Cincinnati, for offensively for the Bengals tonight, but I think we're also still in we don't really know at maybe three-quarters of these teams at all right now.
I'm not going to sit here and have anybody act like they thought Sam Darnold would be doing what he's doing.
I didn't know he was younger than Joe Burrow.
I didn't know that
You
either.
probably didn't either.
Really young. I knew he was really young when they drafted him. But no, I definitely did not have that on the bingo card that he was younger than that. This is a wild start to the NFL season in about every way possible. If you're thinking about just some of these teams that are where they're ranked and some of the things that happen there, it's absolutely stupefying. So here are so right now in QBR, Sam Darnold is 5th in the league. He's behind Purdy and Murray. Derek Carr and Josh Allen is number 1 in that category. So that's where they stand on that.
That's been the sneaky thing.
If you're curious, Deshaun Watson is 30th out of 31 in QBR.
I feel like because the offenses are down, so nobody's putting up really gaudy numbers, that it's unnoticeable if you're not watching the game live. And we've seen a lot of them. They've been in primetime, the Chiefs I'm talking about. But Mahomes and their offense statistically really isn't that great, but they're finding a way to win games, and they're 3-0, which I think is actually scarier for Kansas City.
Yes.
Like, they're winning their games when they're playing poorly. What happens when it does click?
You're seeing memes of Travis Kelce looking pretty I think he had like 4 receptions for 40 yards yesterday, but like 2 of those were third down conversion plays when you need that to happen. I think for Kansas City, they're just trying to figure out how to win without really having to go to him because he's old and you're going to need him in the playoffs because he's shown up for you in the postseason.
It's kind of what they did
have a
last
run
year.
game either. I mean, the loss of Pacheco is a big problem.
Yeah.
Here are the 3 quarterbacks directly ranked ahead of Patrick Mahomes in QBR. You guys ready for this? Daniel Jones, Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett.
I found this.
Mahomes is 18th in the league in QBR. That's how bass-ackwards this thing is.
I found that Daniel Jones is one of those players. Every once in a while this happens with a quarterback. It's a little bit of a gunslinger thing, but Will Levis has this right now where, no, I don't think he's good, but it's kind of fun to watch, and he'll do something that just makes you either scratch your head or it is a really good play. So watch a Tennessee game, watch a Giants game. If you were forced to do that, you might have some fun quarterback play. Not necessarily good quarterback play, but intriguing.
It's not good.
I mean, you could watch the Giants just for Malik Neighbors.
Well, he's sensational. I mean, he truly is sensational. And the fact that Cleveland had MJ Emerson trying to cover him solo the whole time versus not having a safety over the top when they could only really throw to one guy. It was one guy. That's it. It had one guy to stop, and they couldn't. Cincinnati's going to get right tonight. The question is, are they going to get right enough to satisfy the scores? The other one is Jacksonville and Buffalo. Buffalo favored by 5.5 in that one at home. Jacksonville looks so listless. They are 0-2. Lawrence has lost like 8 or 9 games consecutively, dating back to last year. really struggling in Jacksonville. So that game goes first. That's at 7:30. You can listen to that one right here on the Fan. And then at 8:15, we will do the Commies and Bengals. I imagine Higgins back, Chase going. My hunch is Cincinnati will be ready to go tonight down in the jungle and make it difficult. I would think Hendrickson and those guys could make it difficult on the young quarterback with Washington. We will pick those games coming up next. Please do not bring your Sharpies. Just bring pencils. It's not a great week. We'll do that. Get your three things as well. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited Truck Month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Green & Sons, and you can check them out online at greenandsons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville in Raymond for all your Kubota needs.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Ready for the big game?
The Fan Tailgate is back at the Ozone on Lane. Admission is free. Join us for food, fun, and music by the fabulous Johnson Brothers.
Sponsored by your Central Ohio Ford dealers.
Oh, yeah?
Hollywood Casino, Michelob Ultra.
Let me go.
Jack Daniels, Pepsi, TNT Equipment, and Tito's Handmade Vodka.
It's game day at the Ozone on Lane. The Fan, Ohio's tailgating destination.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Ready to turn your media passion into a high-octane career? Ohio Media School will train you for TV, radio, social media, and digital media. Dive into hands-on learning with their cutting-edge Activator curriculum. Gain real-world experience through internships and live remotes. And get insider knowledge from industry pros. Small class sizes, real-world media studios, and 6 to 8 month programs. They accelerate your career with personal attention and essential skills. Visit Ohio Media School at beonair.com to book your free studio tour.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, before we get to the poll, we got to pick them. Not great. For me, I fell on my face this week, Reese. You had the lofty standards. You came back to earth a little bit too, but not like me. This is the worst I've ever done picking NFL in 1 week.
Yeah,
we're
not
3-11.
We're just 5-9 entering Monday night's game.
Middling.
So maybe we get 2 picks that can redeem us.
Hey, you can inch closer. I'm cooked. I don't know if I can come out of this. Go ahead, Chops.
You have the Bengals. Well, we'll start with the 7:30 one. The Bills, Jaguars in Buffalo. Buffalo minus 5.5.
I obviously have no idea what's happening in the NFL week to week, so I'm not going to pretend to give you any insight on this. I'm just going to go with gut, and I'm just going to pick good teams. So I'm going to go Buffalo at home, and I'll throw the 5.5.
Yeah, Josh Allen and I looked at 3-5 on Monday night games, and there were people saying, well, if you betting with your head, Jacksonville's had the upper hand against the Buffalo Bills in primetime games. And I'm like, no, I'm just betting with my gut. Buffalo minus the 5.5.
I understand performance stats, but do stats like that really mean anything? Monday night football for Josh Allen?
I know. People like to throw it out there and sound smarter than they actually are, but no, bet with your gut. The Buffalo Bills are a much better team.
And the later game, 8:15 kickoff down in Cincinnati. Commanders at Bengals. Bengals minus 7.5.
I like Cincinnati here to win by a touchdown, but that doesn't do it. So give me Washington plus the 7.5.
I'll go same but different. I like Cincinnati to cover the 7.5. I wish it wasn't a hook, but I'll take the Bengals. Maybe they finally explode. What do we have in the poll this week, Reese?
The Daily Fan poll, which you can find at 971 The Fan on X or at 971thefan.com. How would you grade Ohio State's 3-0 start before they get into non-conference play? 53% are giving them a B, 40% are giving Ohio State an A, 5% are giving them a C, and like 0.5%'s given a D or an F. Because you're not winning 800 to nothing through 3 games.
I'm more interested in the people giving the C.
Yeah,
but D and F just like, okay, you're not living in reality. But who chose C?
Brutal. Time for 3 things. Hit it, fellas.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number 1 for me, guys' weekend was a success. The wife got home late last night. She left early Thursday morning. All of the boys are alive and well. They are healthy. They have all of their digits. They survived. Even took them up to a Browns game on Sunday. And I can tell you that Bootsy is the most fun you can ever have going with someone to a game. He woofed and barked for 3 hours and cheered, unfazed by anything. I almost felt bad exposing him to that reality because he just had so much enthusiasm. It was unbelievable. God bless him.
I didn't go to the Ohio State game, but I did go down to campus. I had a buddy who likes to set up a few tailgates throughout the year, and this was one of the games he chose. He likes the noon starts for him. He can get out there early, get everything set up. And while we were there, one side of us had a bigger tailgate, and the other side had a bigger tailgate. And they had, on the left, was somebody who had retrofitted an old ambulance and somebody who had retrofitted an old delivery truck with, just the little steel siding. And we were both very impressed. We're like, well, how much would these cost? And so we were looking into the cost of trailers and stuff. Could we all get this together? And then we decided, hey, you know what? We'll just get a local business to pay for it. We'll put their decal on the side. We'll drive it all around town during game days, and then they'll pay for it. So these are the harebrained ideas you get when Ohio State's playing Marshall and you're at a tailgate.
That's right, yeah.
I'd like to just remind everybody for the second time in 3 seasons, the Cleveland Guardians are your American League Central Division champions. Guardians still have some more work to do if they want to take the number 1 spot in the American League. I think they're 3.5 back of the Yankees, who can clinch. I think the Guardians are off today. hosting the Reds Tuesday and Wednesday. But it's been a hell of a year for first-year manager Stephen Vogt. But I think the guy for Kansas City is probably going to get skipper of the year in the American League. They lost 100 games last season, and they could make the playoffs in 2024.
Oh, and I saw the White Sox did lose 120.
Tied with the 62 Mets, baby.
They did it.
They've got 6 games left.
Yeah.
Chicago does. Make some history. Make some really bad history.
Yeah, let's really be. If we're going to be bad, let's be really bad. Speaking of really bad, I'm reminded. I don't think about it until I'm there, but NFL games, and the one we went to was up in Cleveland, but you could probably go to most places. The drunk in public stuff is so out of control, and it's not even like just have a few pops, be loud. Like it's blackout drunk to the point of like passing out in the stands. I don't understand it. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why we think we have to do it. It's off-putting. It's awful. It sucks to take kids and have kids be around it and ask questions. And I guess it's on me for taking kids to it, but it's an NFL game, for God's sake. So you got to be able to go and not see some of the worst parts of humanity on display. Like drunk in public is no way to be, kids. Stop it.
What is it? Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Right. Yeah, it isn't.
Don't lose your head out there. But this high school team did have a guy who did lose his head. So a headless horseman, J-Lo sent me this video after Barstool had shared it. But a headless horseman on a black horse led this high school team out onto the field. That's the kind of energy we need, that out-of-the-box thinking to go for it. It was also full daylight. So while creepy, looked very strange. It wasn't like a riding into the night with the headless horseman. And then I'm like, okay, Barstool shared it. Where did this come from? Sleepy Hollow Athletics. I always forget Sleepy Hollow is a real place. It's in New York. Yeah, it's in New York State. We actually just drove by and we were up in Connecticut the other month, and there's a headless horseman there, obviously with the Ichabod Crane and all that stuff. But I just love that Sleepy Hollow leans into it and rides out with a guy who's, he had his clothes pulled up. I don't think his hair is actually off, or he might be the real headless horseman. Who knows?
An incredible country club, Sleepy Hollow, has a great logo. The golf court club there does. It's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome job out of the Ohio State University Scarlet Chorus yesterday for the final round of the Korn Ferry Tours Nationwide Children's Hospital Championship. Went out there with some buddies to enjoy Pub 13. They had TVs going with the NFL games, and so there was about 85% of them were Browns fans there. So it was a lot of fun to watch some good golf, but also to see everybody I don't say enjoy the Browns, but to do it as a community of Browns fans, that's still pretty undefeated.
You are going to be the mayor of UA.
Sure.
That's what you're going to be. You're going to be the mayor of UA someday. Like you are a citizen of Upper Arlington.
Civic leader, some would say. Maybe not.
You are a civic leader. There's no question. Number 3 for me, I'll make this quick. So I had forgotten, this is year fall number 2 for Buddy Garrity. I had forgotten how imperative it is to watch where he goes to the bathroom with the leaves. Because if you miss it, it's a wild goose chase.
You'll find it eventually.
A wild poop chase. Because you can't see it, man. It's a different world.
This one, a little advice for the kiddos out there. We got a new bed frame, and we were always going to get it delivered. It just ends up being too big of a piece. But then it was also like, you could save $90, and then they'll just deliver it. But if you pay $90, they'll do the installation and the construction of it. Pay for it. Guys came in, took it, boom, put it together, took the boxes with them. I didn't have to deal with the giant boxes. They were in and out in less than 30 minutes. And I didn't have to yell at J-Lo about Allen
9
wrenches.
times out of 10, it's worth it. Yep.
Rothman and Ice are up next from 12 to 3. Common Man and T-Bone will follow from 3 until 4:45. Then the boys are going to go over to ESPN Columbus, 1460 on your AM dial, as Blue Jackets and Sabres are going to kick off the preseason. 4:45, 5 o'clock face-off. And then Buckeye Roundtable's going to Tuesday because of that. So you'll have Ryan Day tomorrow at noon, and then Ryan Day 6:30 with Skip, Paul, and Jim on the Roundtable Tuesday for that one.
And there you go. Enjoy your reaction Monday. Kids, we're back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
When that alarm clock goes off, Morning Juice comes on. The perfect way to dominate your day or just lay around the house. Morning Juice.
Weekdays at 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
We get not one but 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. First at 7:30, it's the Jags taking on the Bills. Buffalo's a 5.5-point home favorite and minus 245 on the money line. Jacksonville's 2-1 to pull off the upset. Then at 8:15, it's the Bengals hosting the Commanders. The Bengals are a 7-point favorite and minus 350 on the money line. Washington is plus 275 to send the Bengals to 0-3. For your action update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns for its biggest year yet. For the first time with Metallica. 2 nights, 2 different set lists, no repeat weekend. Plus exclusive Metallica experiences. With Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, and over 100 more bands to be announced. 4 days, May 8th to the 11th at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Select passes on sale Wednesday, September 25th at SonicTempleFestival.com.
Navigating mental health insurance benefits can be overwhelming, but you don't have to do it alone. The Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office is here to guide you. Our expert team will help you connect with your health insurance plan to understand available behavioral health benefits. Say goodbye to frustration and hello to control over your mental well-being. Call 855-438-6442 today.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at buyersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
The Columbus Men's Clinic opened in 2014 for guys who get it done. Let's talk, fellas. You solve problems all day at work. You fix your sink when it's broken. But when it comes to ED and low T, it doesn't get done. We get it. You hate going to the doctor, but you're the guy that fixes things. At the Columbus Men's Clinic, there's nothing to fear and no reason to delay. We've been destroying bedroom boredom for a decade. So if you haven't fixed this, call us. When the pills fail, call us. If you feel like you've tried everything, call us. Here, there's hope. From the conventional to the next level. You'll be seen by our friendly, discreet physician who will take the time to listen. Imagine finally taking care of this with no surgery. Imagine going from feeling gray to living life in vibrant color. It's time to be confident. Join the thousands of guys who have found success after walking through our doors. Will you be one of them? Dial 614-300-7400 or go to ColumbusMen'sClinic.com to schedule a $99 male performance consultation, including blood work. Do it for you. Do it for her. ColumbusMen'sClinic.com. Book your appointment now.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of Depend, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing catch. Because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, Depend is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, Depend is donating 40 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for Depend Shield Guards RealFit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $300,000 void in Mississippi.
Something amazing is happening in business. More companies are turning to Mac. From finance to fulfillment, CDW will seamlessly support Mac integration into your organization. With the power of Apple Silicon, best-in-class security, and compatibility across your favorite apps, your team will have the performance they need and the tools they love. Make amazing happen. Mac and CDW.